All right, guys, so let's get started with day 3 of Intune, and it's nice weather outside. And if I go to weather.com, just to give you free weather report, so it's 8 degree, so it's not nice. Okay, anyway, let's get going with what we were doing. So I'm gonna go back to the slide where we were. We'll just check where we were, and then we can go ahead. So we were talking about, in fact, let me just go back a little more because we followed some steps. So those steps would just tell us which type of, yeah. So Intune Labs steps to configure the Intune cloud environment, create an Intune security group. Yeah, we did that. Add 2 or 3 users to this group, Megan and Nestor. So we're going to be logging in from the 2 computers. Oh, where are the computers? So 2 virtual machines. Guys, I need to minimize just a couple of million tabs here. So I need to open VMware Workstation Pro where we were having 2 machines ready actually. They just need to log in. But obviously, we need to have the Intune cloud environment set up to a level where we could actually, when we log in, so automatically all the policies should kick in, right? So for Intune, um, it's all cloud prep, and on the endpoint side, you just need to log in. That's it. Uh, so the cloud prep we were doing, yeah, we did that. So these are the steps. I'll just put that in here in the WhatsApp as well. Okay, so then we went to auto enroll and we added a security group there that whatever devices are in the auto enroll section, so they should be automatically getting enrolled into Azure Active Directory and then Intune. This was for Intune. So inside Intune auto enroll, obviously these are all Intune related. In Intune, create an autopilot deployment profile. So this was that when the operating system deploys, suppose it stops on the key, insert the Windows key or what keyboard you want and what time zone you want. So we don't want to stop at those pages. So it should just automatically go ahead with the common questions and don't wait for us. So it will save our time. Suppose you're deploying 10 or 20 machines there, so it should not be the case then. And then we went to Azure AD, which is Entra ID now. And then in the MDM section, well, this is exactly that above section. But if you want to do it from Azure AD, Entra ID, up to you. The new name is actually this. So this is just to know that who are already used to Azure AD. Otherwise, we should only take this name Entra ID. And it should not be unfamiliar. So in interviews, obviously interviewers will be uh, really interested in knowing that what do you know, what changes Microsoft made in the cloud. Okay, so other than that, in Azure AD, Entra ID, go to dashboard device settings, change maximum number of devices. We did that too. So devices default was 50, so we turned it down to 5. Then we went for let's create compliance policy. Uh, so then compliance policy, right? So I'm gonna go down here and no, this was just the that auto enroll. But if we go further down here, so we had gone through compliance policy as and well. If not, then we're going to go through policy refresh intervals. We talked about that every 8 hours the policy refreshes. But if you want to do it faster, then there are other ways as well. There's a synchronization as well. Yeah, then this is the compliance policy we started talking about. So I'm going to go ahead. This just means that we did not create compliance policy. So we're going to be creating the compliance policy now. Then we're going to go for configuration profile. So guys, in Intune, this is boring. But this is really, really important, what policies you enable and what policies you disable and why, right? So that's why we have to go through it, because when you are configuring environment in your company, you will have to go through all this. So let me go back to the environment here, and I'm in Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Then I go to Endpoint Manager, and and so there's the Intune Admin Center or Endpoint Manager. So we're inside the Intune Admin Center or Endpoint Manager, and then we wanted to go for configuration of compliance policies. So just to give a background of that, obviously we had talked about the steps, that what kicks in first, what kicks in. So this diagram should be uh, good enough. Actually, I should make a better diagram. So for Windows App Store, Android, the main thing is that you deploy company portal app, but uh, first the device gets registered to Azure AD, then the device gets registered to, with the help of security group, then the device gets registered to Azure Intune, and then all the policies kick in. Actually, this was not the thing. But I'll just put that policy somewhere here. Uh, i- well, I created that again, seriously. Okay. Hmm. It must be in previous slides. So yeah, we're following that already. And there was a computer that I created. Yeah, this one. Right. Well, no. Okay. So the thing is that we need to go through this if you want to properly configure Intune. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go to devices first. This is the area where we visit the most. And then we go down to this compliance policy. So policy area has to be configured before you even think of introducing the first Windows 10 or 11 machine in Intune. So I'm going to go to compliance policies. So we did create one compliance policy already, and then we went for actually these features as well. I'm just going to go inside and show you the inside of the policy here. Uh, if we go to properties of the compliance policy that we created, at least one compliance policy must be there. So if I click edit here, then yeah, just the name of that policy is there, and then device health. So compliance settings, what are the compliance settings? If I go edit here, then we configured some of the settings. We went through device health and device properties and configuration manager compliance, because you have to keep coming here back here if you want to enable something or disable something, right? So you should be familiar with then the areas here: configuration manager compliance, system security, and oh, thank you, Sal. There it is in the WhatsApp, that what kicks in first and what kicks in second, right? So compliance
Does that
policies
work?
in profile. Yeah, that would work fine. Exactly. So I'll just share it here. Oh, Amazon. Okay, let me take a screenshot of that because I cannot move. Okay, so there it is, and that's a simple, you know, oh, simple one that I wanted to show. Thank you, Sandal, for that. Uh, and oh man, seriously. Okay, where do I go? Yeah, I'll go to this guy here, Word, and put it here, and then view it on 200. All right, now we're talking. Yeah, so that's what we should keep in mind always, that what kicks in for us. So when you start, then install Windows OS. Yeah, after that you have to log in from end user. That is Intune ready end user. And then first the device registers to Azure Active Directory, then the device registers to Microsoft Intune, then compliance policy kicks in, then configuration profile kicks in, and then endpoint security baselines kick in. Exactly. So let's go back. Exactly, this is the thing that should we should keep in mind, right? Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and yep. So we configured configuration manager policy compliance. It's not we configured. Microsoft has the best practices. In some areas, best practices are already configured, and in some areas, they leave it to your decision what you want to implement. And sometimes, or majority of the times, what Microsoft has configured is not enough. It's not configured at all. So you have to be knowledgeable enough to know that what you need to enable and what you need to disable, right? So that's why you must come here. Very few of the policies actually will be configured according to Microsoft's recommendation. Otherwise, majority will not be configured. They will be not configured. So obviously you have to change some options. We require a password. We put up require here simple passwords we went for, and then we went for 8. Minimum password length is 8, and maximum inactivity is 500. So we went for all this. We discussed all that. Then we went for firewall required, TPM required. Remember, we required TPM, but if this doesn't work, this might give us an error because it's a virtual machine. So then we will come back here and this is not configure it TPM, because TPM is for physical laptops, not for virtual machines, or virtual TPM if it is already added to VMware Workstation training environment. Antivirus required. Actually, we don't have antivirus. Anti-spyware. But if they pop up and say, hey, you don't have that, so then we will come back here and disable that as well, unless you want to purchase a license of antivirus and deploy it. But here, there are requirements have been enabled, right? Okay, so then Microsoft Defender for endpoint, yes. So it's Defender is the main platform or security platform by Microsoft where all the security tools are living, and that's where Defender has to be connected to endpoint, but you have to purchase Defender license, right? So it could really work for you. Some of the features are free, but many features are for E5 license. I think this account is E5 already, so um, wherever it says purchase some advanced security features, that's where if they have trial version, we can enable that. So anyway, so we have enabled or disabled some of the policies here, actually enabled majority of the time, and or kept it not configured. So that's compliance policy we have already configured last week. So I'm just gonna cancel out from here. And on whom we have configured that? On whom? So we have configured it or implemented it on a security group. We added a security group. There are two users who are part of the security group, and those two users we will be adding here. So one user will log in from Windows 10, and one user will log in from Windows 11, right? So 10 and 11 are both ready to be configured. When it comes to put the credentials, then we're going to put these users, but before that, obviously, the whole Intune environment should be configured. Now, compliance policy was not that big deal, right? It's the big deal comes here. And you have to do your due diligence. You have to go through uh, opening lots of pages of Microsoft website. This is the configuration profiles. So what kind of configurations you want to place on the Windows, right? So these are operating systems, right? Operating systems. So operating systems have thousands and thousands of areas, sections, which you may want to configure. An example would be, oh, I don't want users to change the desktop, wallpaper, or I don't want the users to even change the password. Okay, no, that's users are supposed to change the password, but you want to change some of the features that users are able to change, maybe allow something, maybe disable something. So there are thousands of those things, and in the background, which end users don't even know. Maybe you say that I don't want remotely anyone to connect to certain user's laptop. Okay, so there are all kinds of configurations there. You want to, what set of configurations you want to push to all the clients, right? So if we create that, because we're going to be talking about some configurations here, so I'll just create an end user laptop diagram here, so we could keep everything in perspective that okay, you want to implement this, and we're talking purely just about Windows only now, right now, right? There are Android devices, there are iOS devices, and then there's Mac OS as well. Thank God there are no other different type of vendors. Otherwise, Intune would be more complicated or time consuming if not complicated. Okay, so this is end user device, and suppose there are thousands of end users. A company has 10K devices, right? Users slash devices. Obviously, when there are users, they will be given devices. So you want to control, you want to send a policy that will affect 10,000 users. So you have to be very, very careful, obviously. So for that, what kind of configuration? So here, compliance policy. This is major things, right? Compliance policy offered um, common slash major configurations. Offered common slash major configurations. But when it comes to but when it comes to configuration profiles, it becomes complicated. So offers configuration profiles offers more set of configurations, set of more settings related to all user and computer and machine environments. So you will see there's a long list of configurations just for security, just for OS, just for networking, and there are big sections related to just for passwords. So you can go in depth with configuration profiles. This is configuration. You want to configure Windows. This is compliance. Oh, security wise, we should be having this, and but this is configuration of an OS, right? So what portions of OS you want to lock and what portions of OS you want allowed to be used and how to be used. So that's where we're going now. Let's go deep dive into configuration profiles now, which is something that you will be spending more time on. Excuse me, more time on. And one more thing is, hey, seriously, what's wrong with this? Okay, yeah, okay. And third one is uh, endpoint security baselines, right? So then obviously when you're configuring all other policies, offers security in depth. So already you will see configuration profiles are offering a lot of security, sections as well. But then here comes the endpoint then. Endpoint security baselines even go more deeper. So how deeper that is go? Do we really need those? What sections of an operating system and application like browsers does endpoint security baseline deals with? Uh, After configuring all this, do we really need this, right? There are some security configuration or settings here that are also available here as well. Very few, actually. In fact, you will see conflict. Suppose you implement a lot of settings from here, and then a lot of settings from here as well. And one or two will pop up that there's a conflict because whatever settings you have set here, in fact, conflict means that whatever settings you have set here, the opposite of that you have set from here as well. So what do you want to implement? Do you want, suppose it says yes about I'm giving a common example. Suppose it says yes about BitLocker enable, which is very critical. Obviously, we need to enable it. But I'm just giving an example. Suppose uh, enable BitLocker. Here you said disable BitLocker. Here you said enable BitLocker. So there will be a conflict. I'm talking about very advanced configurations where you implement that configuration, and oppositely you have implement something that actually denies this. So then there will be conflict. So that can also happen. There are some okay. This you may not find in the books, but I'm just telling you. We have gone through some experience, so I'm telling harmful conflict and harmless conflict. What? Hey, conflict is always harmful, right? It's a conflict. Well, harmless conflict is and what we have faced, that even if one setting here denies the other setting, it's not really making, we need to still keep that enabled because it's a bundle that we have to enable. And which one succeeds on conflict? That's a very good question from Kamaraj. That yes, if there's a conflict, which one succeeds? The thing is that it depends what level is it configured. If it is configured from there, you have configured something that from the laptop side, it was configured, and you configured something that is being pushed from the central repository of configurations. So I think the laptop side will not be configured, but I have to still check that because one of the settings we configured from the device area, and it overridden what we had sent from there, while from the Intune we published. There's a device level, there's Intune level. So we have to check that because this topic is coming when we talk about these two. Then I'm going to talk about conflicts. But overall, what takes precedence? There are different instances of that where something that was on lower level, on hardware level type, and that was opposite of that was implemented from the Intune side, and it's just simply not hardware level, OS level, but OS level got precedence over there. So I'll be discussing that when we have done configuration profiles and endpoint. What I was talking about harmless conflict is that there were some things that we had to implement full bundle of configurations here, and we had to implement a set of 3 or 4 configurations here, right? Uh, Now it created a conflict. One of the 3 or 4 settings was in conflict with a full bundle of configurations that we configured here, but we could not turn off the bundle, and we could not turn off those set of 4 settings. So, and what did not work actually was harmless as a result. So we kept that conflict there because the other set of configurations in that bundle we needed another set of configurations here. So one of them had a conflict with one of the other one, but that conflict was not really harmful for us. So we let it have conflict and just to have some extra configurations implemented. So harmful conflict would be obviously there that you would be uh, putting a bundle here and maybe one setting here, and it's the conflict causes the critical feature to be not available. So obviously that would be harmful for us. So we will avoid everything harmful, but if some bundle we implement and we cannot turn off that bundle as well, but the conflict that creates or denies one feature to get implemented is harmless. It doesn't really affect any of our compliance policies, and everyone is okay with that. Then we let it go and we let this conflict be, right? So yeah. But precedent, which conflict in terms of precedence, which takes precedence, we're going to be talking about that definitely. Okay, so we're here. We're going to implement now. We're going to go through, and there are many environments. Configuration profiles are much more complicated. So I'm going to go back to this. Yeah. So we go to configuration profiles, and then there's a create profile. Um, and there's import ADMX. So this is profile. So first, let's just go for profiles. What is profile? So select platform, and then obviously we're for now going for Windows 10 and later, but later we're going to be going for iOS and Android as well. But if you have gone through this extensive list, then that's you obviously you're going to understand then the logic of those as well. So when we go for, hey, I need just a profile for Windows 10 and later, then they say that, hey, you want to go for specific set of configurations, they categorize them, or you want to go for a very long list of configurations and you want to select any one configuration from the long list of configurations there. So that is selects a settings catalog. So if I go to templates first, so it's they have categorized. Hey, do you what kind of set of configurations you want implemented first? So there's administrative templates here. Administrative templates is uh, something you cannot achieve from here. You can then go for administrative templates. Now, suppose there are Adobe Acrobat deployed, right? Adobe Acrobat Reader deployed, and that you need to import then the administrative template or set of configuration settings only for Adobe Acrobat app, right? You want to deploy Chrome, Google Chrome. So you want to have specific Chrome relative set it. If I go for administrative template just to show you, because we're going to have a lab later as well, I'm going to click that administrative templates and click create. It also shows you, just suppose if you have heard about group policy before in Windows environment, many of you have. What is group policy? Group policy, you can implement a policy on thousands of users or thousands of machines in a Windows environment under Active Directory. So it's very powerful group policy, right? So suppose I go for test here, I'm not going to actually implement that. Uh, but when we implement Chrome, then I will be coming here. So next, and then if we go here, so you can see that there's a computer configuration, there's a user configuration. So group policy, the style in which the group policy used to come in Windows Active Directory. So um, okay, there is a question in the chat. Kamaraj says, would it be possible to compare these settings with GPUs? Exactly, exactly. So with GPU, group policy object settings in 80, you can see even the style is exactly the same. And I was gonna create a quick diagram for that. What we Windows administrators, we used to have a branch. We suppose we are working in a Toronto branch here, and we had physical machines at that time, later virtual machines, but still the same configuration. There are all those servers, but you would have the domain controller there, right? We still have it. I mean, majority of the companies still have it because we haven't fully gone to migration of
An ADA.
cloud.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
have a domain controller, so it should be in the domain controller, guys.
Yeah, but can anyone tell me what is domain controller? What type of machine is considered domain controller? Yep. Anyone? What type of machine in a Windows environment is considered a domain controller? Oh, what type of machine?
The one which has Active Directory.
Yeah, so a server OS exactly with an Active Directory installed um, is called, because you will see these environments in the companies till now. It's not like they're gone, and it's quite some time before they are actually gone. So this, and then suppose you have two domain controllers. The terminology still changes. Anyone knows what's the first deployed domain controller is called, and what are the other deployed domain controllers called? Vijay says slave and master. Not exactly. I mean, yes, that's a relation between them, but there's a terminology for them. The first deployed domain controller is called what? Root. Root DC. We call it root DC, right? And this mean or and root DC has a big meaning with them. In on we're discussing here on premises environments, right? And majority of the companies still have very much live on premises environments there. And these every additional domain controller would be called additional DC, secondary DC, or additional DC, right? These are terminology that you will use in the interview because they will have this environment and they expect you to know already all this. And then you will migrate some of those to the cloud. So root DC would have all the FSMO roles. There's another thing called FSMO roles. I think before you go to an interview, you must know uh, FSMO roles, FSMO. I'm talking about 120K, 130K jobs. Uh, I'm talking about bank jobs, insurance company, or that's where they expect you to know some common terminologies. Go do a research on FSMO roles, flexible single master operations, flexible single master operations roles. These are just specific roles for very, very specific security and configurational tasks that domain controller does, right? So what I'm saying is one of the important thing was, as Kamaraj mentioned as well, is group policy. That with group policy or GPO, group policy object, you would control the whole environment, and it still exists in majority of the companies. Group policy objects.
You're
Uh,
talking, Amir.
yeah.
Sorry, you're talking
hmm
about
Sure, sure.
replica DCs,
Yes,
not
exactly.
yeah, replica, right? Not root.
Exactly. Replica DC.
Okay, but I'm thinking root domains.
Well, domain controller controls the
Yeah,
domains. But
yeah.
when
So
we
you
go
have
to
your
domain
root
structure,
child
then
domain,
it's
right?
forest, tree,
Yeah, that's right.
domain, child
Site,
domain.
forest, tree, and
Yeah.
object, right? And then you got your domains and
Yes,
stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, but yeah. So here, because we're talking about machines, so that's why I'm talking about what are the machines called. So, okay, guys. So here, GPO group policy objects, and through this you could control configurations. I deployed MS Office from here as well, but it was all on premises. Suppose you have 10K devices here, but that was all on premises. 10K end user desktops and laptops, right? Uh, slash laptops. So you want to implement anything there on premises, it would just implement on all those machines. But that's on premises. If we go back here, Intune simply offers us exact same thing, computer configurations, any configuration related to just computers, 10,000, 100,000 computers, spread across the globe, right? And user configurations, which is obviously the user environment. So here, administrative templates are very, very important. Many of the configurations I had to come here and check, especially Google. And now, there's a new project I'm working on. It's not like new for our company, yes, new, that we need to deploy centrally the applications, but with a lot of new configurations, a lot of extra configurations. So yeah, that is something, and with regular patching, maybe adding DevOps touch there as well. So, okay, anyway, Google Chrome settings, this is where we're going to be, but I'm just showing you that it's very familiar with, if you have done group policies on on-premises environments, then yes, it pretty much looks like that. This is just what I wanted to show, but we're not configuring it right now. Uh, so I'm just create profile, and then we're going for Windows 10 and later, and then yeah. So templates, administrative templates. We saw that okay, group policies plus it can do many other things that you won't find here. So what are those? We're gonna talk about that. Then there's custom as well. Microsoft Intune includes many built-in settings to control different features on our device. You can also create custom profiles, which are created similar to built-in profiles. Custom profiles are great when you want to use device settings and features that aren't built into Intune. So this also has some of the things. I'm just gonna select that. So I'm gonna select each one of those just to show inside of it. Then we're gonna go for this guy, endpoint protection. This has a lot of policies. I think this is one of the biggest one. And this is something that your company would need, although you're the administrator and your higher management would actually. decide that, or if it's compliant with what you want or not. I'm going to go for custom as well and select that. Hey, when I select, okay. So custom and test, just to have a peek inside, then we're going to be exploring as well a lot of settings. And there's a thing called OMA URI. Oh my God. No, OMA URI. OMA URI settings are really something that we're going to be testing. Example, very simple example of that would be you want to make some registry level changes. So this article is blah blah blah. Okay, the settings are added to device configuration profile. Oh, come on. Oh, let me just tell you what is OMA URI, because that's another very important terminology that you will be facing. So deploy OMA URIs to a target a CSP through Intune. If I go there, significance of Windows Configuration Service Provider CSPs, Open Mobile Alliance. So what is OMA URI? Open Mobile Alliance Uniform Resources. Again, what is it? Okay, what it means here is not really significant. How custom policies are delivered to Windows 10 based with it. So this is a very one-liner explanation. Custom policies are delivered to a Windows 10 based device with administrative template. Intune provides a convenient and easy to use interface to configure these policies. However, not all settings are necessarily available within the Microsoft Intune Admin Center. Although many settings can be potentially configured on a Windows device, it's not feasible to have all of them in the Admin Center. So the thing is that whatever you don't have, this is all custom. It also goes for custom. And whatever you don't have in the rest of the templates or the other features and configurations, that's what you can deploy here. And with OMA URI also, we're going to deploy some of the. Suppose one example I would give, we have all Google Chrome, right? You want to open the first page. Anyone who opens Google Chrome's first page, it should always be a company page first. Then wherever you want to go, go ahead, right? But first page should be company page. So you can configure that from OMA URI as well. You can configure very small details of uh, configurations to an application or an OS. Very, very small, minute details you can push to thousands of devices from here, right? So I'm going to go back here. Custom OMA URI, actually, you just add there, then you name the configurations. You have to have the full configuration syntax. The code should be here that, hey, go to all Windows 10 machines and disable the downloads folder. Suppose you want to do this, or not disable, or go for to every and disable the wallpaper change feature. So, or even more complicated than that. I mean, wallpaper change would be there in the common configurations. You just enable it and it will just disable that, right? So, but here, very, very complicated configurations you can push through that. So we're going to be pushing through some of the configurations just to show you that, okay, this is how OMA URI works. But where common settings cannot reach, custom and administrative templates really help you with that. And custom would actually go for, so the terminology, remember that it's OMA URI. And this is something that you should mention in your resume as well as an interview. But once you do a lab with OMA URI, you will understand firsthand, oh, okay, that's what it is. And okay, delivery optimization. So this is delivery optimization settings for your devices running Windows 10 or later can help reduce bandwidth consumption when those devices download applications and updates. Okay, suppose updates are being downloaded, patches are being downloaded. So you can optimize that delivery of patches. This is not something we haven't configured in our environment. We didn't see the need for that download mode, but you can see that you can actually block certain types of downloads, not at certain types of sites through NAT, through private group. bandwidth optimized type. So you want to, some percentage of download should be done, or some percentage with business hours. In business hours, how much you can download, how much bandwidth you can use, right? In our case, we are totally cloud, and many of the companies are totally cloud, so it's heavy usage of internet already there. But somebody's doing some huge downloads of patches, or big application downloads are going on while during business hours. It will really disrupt, it will make internet slower for everyone. So you can't allow, if there's a bandwidth misuse going on, then you come here and then check that who is abusing our bandwidth. If that's not the case, you don't need to really come here, right? Okay, so if we go ahead again with Windows 10, and we're just talking Windows policies here, templates, and then there's device firmware configuration interface. So there are thousands of devices across different, I was going to say different planets of different continents, and different cities, and you want to update their firmware. So when you use Intune to manage autopilot devices, oh man, seriously, autopilot I implemented 6 months ago. It's full automation. You just log in from the user, and that's it. Go do your work, and everything will be deployed. If you don't use autopilot, there are certain areas where you still have to come back and configure. Right now, when we start, we will see certain areas where we have to be sitting in front of the machine to configure the whole thing. But when you configure autopilot, that's not the case. Then it's fully automated, and you go do something else, and it keeps on configuring the machines. We're going to do that too. Okay, when you use Intune to manage autopilot devices, you can manage UEFI BIOS settings after they are enrolled using the device firmware. So this is very important. Uh, can you give me any example of what can you configure in a BIOS? Anyone has, I'm sure many of you have entered BIOS hundreds of times. What could be the most important setting you may want to change or configure in a BIOS? Like, really? BIOS? What can you?
Encryption?
Okay, yes, encryption. You can configure encryption in BIOS as well. Otherwise, OS level, they can also have encryption. I wanted to enable virtualization in the machine, and basically when you purchase a new laptop, the virtualization you have to enable manually. So suppose you want to enable virtualization in the BIOS, then you can come here, especially firmware update. That's where it comes. Firmware does enable a lot of policy. I mean, new firmware enables a lot of settings, new settings there. Yeah.
And the boot device.
Oh, yes, yes. So boot device as well, exactly. That's very common that we go BIOS to. Suppose you want to boot from, initially you want to boot from CD-ROM or USB, or suppose there are two disks there and you're preferring to boot from the second one, then you can change that. And definitely, so yeah, there are things that change hard drive settings exactly. Uh, Rafael says that. Okay, so the thing is, there are some common settings in BIOS. You want to configure those settings in thousands of machines through Intune. You can do that. Um, Reinstalling the OS or wiping the computer won't turn the camera back on. The camera settings. It limits end users' control over the BIOS, which is good in a compromise. So yes, end users must not enter BIOS. So you want to put passwords. Suppose in some machines you press F10. In some machines you press setup. There's no setup button here. But yeah, any other F12 button, suppose, and you enter BIOS. End users must not enter BIOS. So you want to put a password across thousands of devices on BIOS. You can do that. For example, you use devices running Windows 10 or later in a secure environment and want to disable camera. So guys, there are some things that you can disable from BIOS. Obviously, one of them is camera as well. So you can disable the camera at the firmware level. This means no matter what drivers you install, External camera you connect temporarily, you won't be able to enable camera at all. So that's pretty powerful. So it doesn't matter what the end user does. Reinstalling the OS or wiping the computer won't turn on the camera. Even reinstalling the OS, if it's disabled on firmware level, you can enable it. So there are some very good usage here. In another example, lock down the boot options to prevent users from booting up another OS. Very, very good. And we talked about that already, right? That boot options are supposed to be also something that we can configure. So disabling camera, downloading firmware, and disabling boot options, we talked about that, and enabling or disabling virtualization options, or enabling or disabling um, encryption. So that there's a lot of usages here. For that, you want to change any of those settings on thousands of devices, you can come here for device firmware configuration interface, right? Then there are device restrictions here. Device restrictions would be Intune includes devices restriction policies that help administrators control Windows devices. These restrictions let you control what? Let you control a wide range of settings and features to protect your organization's resources. For example, administrators can set a minimum password length and block simple passwords. Okay. Did you know, consider going to endpoint security to create an endpoint security profile or security baseline profile to configure your common endpoint protection security. So they say that you want to configure from here, or you want to go to endpoint security baselines, right? Endpoint security profiles provide a concise, curated set of security templates. Yeah, obviously we're going to be visiting that too, including firewall, BitLocker, antivirus, and more. So you want to go in depth with the same settings that we enabled just in, we were just saw that we enabled those settings in compliance policy. So they enable some of the settings for firewall, BitLocker, antivirus, but you want to go in depth, then you go to endpoint security baselines. Baseline profiles are templates with pre-configured settings, values recommended by security experts. So yeah, those are the values. So either you go to endpoint security or you want to configure from here. It's up to you, but not all configurations are the same. Obviously, very few are exactly the same. Otherwise, what's the purpose of putting these here and there as well? But configuration profiles kick in first, and their implementation is like they both implement. Yeah, actually, endpoint security is also whatever you they go configure there, they also implement perfectly. Then we go for, so if I go to endpoint security and create here as an example and put test here, I'm not gonna actually fully implement that. Next. Ooh, so whoa. So App Store security, block this, block that. It goes really in depth, and just the App Store, what you want to allow, what you want to block, then cellular and connectivity, and data roaming you want to disable for cell phones, and Wi-Fi you want to disable, NFC you want to disable, VPN over cellular network, Bluetooth related settings, discovery ability. So anyone wants to discover other Bluetooth devices, you want to block that. Pre-pairing. So pairing, preparation for the pairing can be blocked as well. Advertising of Bluetooth can be blocked as well. So that's a lot of security. Cloud and storage. Microsoft account. Really? Seriously? You want to block that? Non-Microsoft account. Google Drive uh, and Dropbox. All those kinds of storage. And setting synchronization for Microsoft account. Pretty amazing, right? You can go in that cloud printer. You want to disable. Or actually, this is you want to push cloud printer configurations to the desktop area of thousands of Windows 10 and 11, and then they can print over the cloud. Perfect. You know, our Sharp printer, we have a Sharp printer in our company, and so we purchase, I think, the basic license, I guess. We want to print there within the company network. But Cloud Print, when I asked them, they said that you have to purchase the next level of set of features. So when I asked the company, they said, no, who needs cloud printing? Blah blah blah. Anyway, but you can push to thousands of devices cloud printing configurations through Intune, control panel and settings. So all the control panel settings app, system, power, and sleep settings modification. So none of the users should be able to touch those. You can block personalization, apps, accounts. My kids call me block dad. Why? Because I threaten them always. I have, my DSL, from Rogers, and I installed that in my cell phone, and I have the password, obviously. So I tell them, hey, I'm gonna block your machine if you don't do homework. I'm gonna block at this time. I'm about to block if you say this. Okay. If you don't do this work, sure. Okay. So I'm known as block dad now. Okay. So anyway, gaming, ease of access, you name it, display features. What do you want to enable? Turn on GDI scaling for apps. GDI scaling lets apps that are not DPI aware to become per monitor DPI aware. Dots per inch, right? Dots per inch DPI. So any of those settings, general settings, locked screen experience, general settings, screen capture. Seriously, this is mobile only. So there are set of configurations only for phone, and there are set of configurations that implement on Windows as well. So where are you implementing? Suppose this configuration profile you create, right? Okay, let me show you. If you create this configuration profile, um, okay, it's opening. Then you can attach to that configuration profile. So it's configuration profiles, and when you're creating that, you can attach to this configuration profile uh, phone, iOS, and device as well. So this configuration profile, device restrictions, you can attach security group, any kind of security group, right? But security groups that are for iPhone users and security groups that are for Android users, you can attach here as well, because there are many configuration policies here that are related to just phones as well. And they say that you want to disable phone camera as well. So it's gonna, actually, this is for phone, block use of camera. So this is the device that if you implement on phone, you can check if it disables phone camera as well. Geolocation, internet sharing, you want to disable phone reset. End users cannot reset phones, or the hackers, they try to reset the phone, they won't be able to do that. So USB connection, anti-theft mode, mobile only, Cortana. You can just definitely disable that. And you can go ahead, and there's so many policies here: locked screen experience, action center notifications, mobile only. So cell phone plus desktop configurations for phone are available here. Messaging, MMS, if you want to block MMS as well, message sync, mobile only, synchronization, right? Microsoft Edge legacy version. If you have older versions of Edge, then otherwise we're gonna go for endpoint security, this one, and we're gonna see the latest features of Edge, and we can control them. Network proxy, if there's a proxy software there that you want to use, maybe you don't want anyone to put proxy software there, so you can disable that, or you actually want to put the proxy software, you can put the proxy link there as well. So what is proxy software? Suppose that there's internet coming, and that internet, you want to control not only the bandwidth, but who's connecting to what on the internet. So you can control that. So you can actually install a proxy software in the company, and through the proxy software or device, the internet first enters the company, then it connects to the device, proxy device, then it goes to the switches and routers and to the endpoint users. But now when you connect to that device interface, and then it dashboard, it shows you, hey, how much bandwidth is being used, who's downloading what, and who's visiting what sites. Okay, so yeah, so that's proxy. So you can just put that proxy number, everyone will connect. You will force everyone to connect through that proxy device to internet. Otherwise, obviously, they won't be able to connect to internet from company network, at least. If you go If you go for password, yeah, password settings will be there in endpoint security, this one as well, but we are in configuration profile right now. So simple password, automatic encryption, FIPS policy, Windows Hello device authentication, per app privacy exceptions. So app privacy you want to implement or add exceptions to that. Personalization, desktop background picture. Oh, you want a desktop background picture of a company logo and company related images. So you can just put that URL and it will appear there on the desktop area of every user. So printer related, before it was internet printing that you can push configurations of, then there is local printer. If people want to search for a local printer, then you can put those configurations here in Intune. And privacy, so privacy experience, input personalization, automatic acceptance of the pairing, and privacy user consent prompts. So some of the settings that user wants to connect a device to certain other device or service, so you can try to enable block there. It keeps on going. Define information that all apps on the device can access. Account information, background apps, calendar. This is all phone, email, contacts. So suppose I go for camera, allow or block. Okay. Email, location. So the built-in apps, do you want to block anyone? Oh, microphone. Wow, that would be interesting. You can block microphone. Okay. Phone vibrating or motion related services that are there, and radios you want to disable. So that's pretty heavy control on each aspect of desktop and cell phone. Projection to this PC. So projection, you wanna, and projector pairing. So maybe require you want to pair the projector if you want to project something from your cell phone Bluetooth or laptop Bluetooth to the projector. Reporting and telemetry. So Microsoft Edge browsing data to Microsoft 365 Analytics. You want to send some information to Microsoft or not. Search, what do you want to search? In the search, do you want your company to be coming up first, or indexing related stuff? Start. In the start menu, what do you want enabled? So start menu, when you start and then you go here. So what do you want shown here? So you will start putting the code and okay, line up the apps, and maybe in the start menu when what script should run, you could just put that too. So this is pretty uh, heavy control again and again. So fast user switching, you don't want to have user switching there. You can block that because you can switch user, right? Um, and log in to another user as well. App list, power button. Oh, you want to block the power button. So users will not be able to, you know, power off. Like seriously. Okay. And users cannot be able to lock, sign out, shut down, sleep, hibernate, switch account, restart options, no restart options. So this is pretty much this area, and you can just disable, enable any of those options, and they'll be gone, right? So not configured is the option, but you can configure pretty much a lot of controls here that the users won't be able to control then. Documents on start, really, hide or show. So don't, documents folder, downloads on start. So enforces the visibility show hide of the downloads folder shortcut on the start menu. Okay, File Explorer, and it goes on. So you get the idea that some of the common features can be removed and vanished into thin air. Smart screen for smart screen. Anyone knows what's a smart screen? Anyone knows what's a smart screen? Okay, what ChatGPT says? No, smart screen is that it will block uh, some of the software that or malicious sites or malicious software. It won't let you run malicious sites or malicious software, right? So that's smart screen configurations. Um, and then there is Windows Spotlight. So Spotlight on lock screen. Spotlight, we haven't used that feature. Allows IT admins to turn off all Windows Spotlight features. Windows Spotlight on lock screen, Windows tips. Oh, tips and You know those wallpapers and everything that appears when your screen is locked? Microsoft Defender antivirus, real-time monitoring, behavior monitoring, network inspection system, scan all downloads. Wow, that should be enabled. Scan all downloads, right? Configure low CPU priority for scheduled scans, catch up, quick scan, catch up, full scan. So this is antivirus. Microsoft Defender offers antivirus, right? So that antivirus, how do you want that antivirus to be working? And that's a lot of settings. And this is very important as well. You cannot let the antivirus scan during work hours, or if there's a threat, then scan right away as well, right? So you have to check that what settings enable that. And do you want to download, scan all the downloads? Obviously, yes. But that's going to slow down the downloads as well. So you need to check security and speed, or you have to have a balance between security and speed. Then there are exclusions. This is very important. So, so antivirus exclusion, you know, suppose there's a very critical application in the, um, path. It's installed in Windows machine. If antivirus thinks somehow that one of the file names of a critical application is actually acting weird, or it has some kind of suspicion, it could be a malware or some temporary lock files that they create, it could block those, and then whatever was service was creating, it blocks those as well. So antivirus has the capability of sometimes uh, renaming the legit files as well, or disabling or quarantining a legit file as well. And maybe that file was actually running a very critical company application. So whenever antivirus is running and there's a very critical application that is running, so you can exclude the folder path of that critical application. So the antivirus should not be able to affect any files of this, suppose insurance company critical application, and if it blocks, antivirus renames or quarantines some file, and this causes the application to stop, then you're in big trouble. So sometimes it's a false positive, and it thinks it's bad, but it's not bad actually. It's a good file. So exclusions is a very, very important thing. If you think that some critical application on the server, on the developer's laptop, on the CEO's laptop, senior management's laptop, they are um, they have some important files that could be affected by antivirus, or maybe once it was affected by antivirus thought it's a virus, but it was not, and but the CEO could not run the file. So then you would come here and maybe create just a policy just for CEO's laptop and add the path of that file, and then so tell the antivirus, hey, don't touch this folder and path. So that's where you can come. Power settings, very, very important here. Power button. What do you want power button to do? No action, sleep, hibernate, shut down, sleep button, and then there is no action, sleep, hibernate, shut down, and hybrid sleep. So you want to control the power settings, which is very important, and then you can control all those here. So you can see device restrictions have very, very important configurations. And if we go through everything, so me and my junior administrator, we had to go through each and every setting, and we thought whatever we thought block, we blocked it. Whatever we thought unblock, we unblocked it. Our director is very technical as well. So she says that, hey, always add my laptop to whatever you're testing. So it's always us three, director and me and junior admin, right? So then when we implemented the policy and we checked for 1 week or 2 weeks, it was all good. We were able to, run all the applications. Then director said, okay, approved. This policy is good. And if there were any questions, then we would just take the screenshot and discuss with the director, okay, this, if we enable this, this would do this, if we enable that, or if there are some specific requirements from the management, hey, please specially block the USB on all machines. So yeah, so anything you have to get approval, but you have to go through all those features to implement that throughout the hundreds of laptops of the employees. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. And if I go here, create profile again, so then there is Windows 10 and later and templates. There is device restrictions, Windows 10 team. So Intune includes device restriction policies that help administrators control Windows 10 team devices. These restrictions let you control settings and features to protect your organization's resources, such as controlling the display of meeting information on the welcome screen or preventing waking the screen when someone enters the room. So Microsoft Teams, we all have Microsoft Teams, right? So that Teams, not TeamViewer, Microsoft Teams here, actually this, work or school. So when you enable that, so there are meeting information. Uh, Basically, this is Teams, right? But basically, I would not come here to implement anything related to Microsoft Teams because we totally depend on Teams for our chat, one-to-one meeting, and all the conferences and meetings, right? So we totally depend on that. So we would go here to Teams Admin Center to do anything about Teams, to configure anything about Teams, right? And one day, Monday or Sunday, it's going to open. But the thing is that obviously after Intune, we're going to go for SharePoint and Teams as well. So that is something that we have to make sure that don't mess with anything related to Teams from Intune unless it's something that Teams Admin Center does not cover. Then go for Intune-based configuration of Teams. Otherwise, it just handles users' Teams environment pretty good. So team settings, team policies, they cover a lot of template policies. They cover a lot of configurations of Teams. So we should not be, well, if it's nothing that Teams gonna offers, then come here and check. Okay, so domain join. Now this is for on-premises environment that many environments use on-premises Active Directory when AD domain join devices are also joined to Azure AD. They are called hybrid Azure AD. So this is that scenario which we have talked before as well. But you have the Toronto branch and the on-premises configurations, and then you have the cloud configurations. Now you have here Azure Active Directory, and there you have Entra ID. I think they have changed it Azure Active Directory because maybe so many companies who are joining cloud Azure, they might be confused with, hey, which one is which? Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, although it's pretty clear, but maybe. Okay, Entra ID is there, and they need to communicate with each other. So domain controller or Active Directory here needs to communicate with that. And so you have 10,000 devices here. Those 10,000 devices are registered here. They are showing in the Active Directory here, but this information can be shared with Azure Active Directory or Entra ID as well. So this environment will be called hybrid environment, right? So if that's kind of environment, many big companies have that. So if that's the type of environment you have, then uh, it can help you. Intune can make that process faster. What process faster? Using Windows Autopilot, you can enroll hybrid Azure AD join devices in Intune. So you want to enroll thousands of devices which are already, so the local domain controller, on-premises domain controller already has these devices registered, but these are thousands of devices, and you want some faster process so that all those devices are registered here as well. Then you go for that Intune based policy here. of domain join. The policy simply calls itself domain join. A domain join configuration profile includes on-premises Active Directory domain information. When devices are provisioning and typically offline, this profile deploys the AD domain details so devices know which on-premises domain to join. If you don't create a domain join profile, these devices might fail to deploy. So the thing is, if there are multiple domains, there are multiple. So what is the domain? Domain is your company name here, like suppose toronto.com. So suppose that's the company name, or actually the company name is abc.com, but the branch is in Toronto. So toronto.abc.com. Maybe you have another branch here, so you would create a subdomain for that too, and that would be newyork.abc.com. And maybe in Tokyo, tokyo.abc.com, right? So which domain to join, that's what they mean by that, because they have subdomains, child domains, and tree domains as well. ONK, but that's for on-premises. Addition, upgrade, and mode switch. As part of your mobile device management solution, you may want to upgrade your Windows 10, 11 devices. Yes, we would want to upgrade our Windows 10, 11. For example, you want to upgrade your Windows 10, 11 professional devices to Windows 10, 11 Enterprise. Uh, okay. Anyone knows, suppose you have a 10 Pro here. You want to upgrade it to 10 Enterprise. Can you do it with a license as well? With a user license as well? Anyone knows that? You want to upgrade 10 Pro to 10 Enterprise. Can you do it with a user license? Or do you need a upgrade license? Like there's a process for that. I think you can put a key there, right? Get an enterprise key and put it in Pro, and it becomes enterprise. So how to upgrade? I think the question is confusing. So the thing is, or what I was asking was, or how we did that. We had a 10 Pro Windows, and we just logged in from E5 license, user license, and it automatically converted our 10 Pro to 10 Enterprise. So yeah, maybe that's what I wanted to say, but the question may be confusing. Or you want the device to switch out of S mode, Windows 10 as special, or S mode is designed for security and performance. So the thing is, if you want to upgrade features, then you can go for, there are some settings here that it would push to Windows 10, and it would be easier than to upgrade from 10 Pro to, uh, you know, with all the extra configurations to enterprise, professional to enterprise. And then there is email, configure an email server, SSL communication, and other built-in email settings. I don't think we should be, well, obviously it's there for a purpose. So if there are some SSL certificates need to be pushed through Intune to thousands of devices, you can do that. Configure an email server. Are you kidding me? Through Intune? Maybe for a very large organization. Otherwise, Exchange servers, they're online, first of all. And if you have on-premises, we have separate ways to configure it, and they're very sensitive servers. So configuring from Intune, yes, there's a feature that maybe you have hundreds of Exchange server, you're a very big organization, so maybe then you can do that. Otherwise, email settings, I have not seen many administrators using from Intune at least. Endpoint protection is what we will be doing, but there's, oh, seriously, there's so many more. So we're going to just talk about, so we're going to be coming back to this because that's what we're going to implement. But I'll just introduce others as well, that what else Intune does. So with Intune, you can use this device configuration profile to manage Windows Hello for business settings or on Windows devices. So Windows Hello, if you want hello, no, okay, not that hello. So anyway, the hello, if I go for identity protection, if you go for that, use security keys for sign in, is one configuration, and that is enabled. If I go for this, suppose I go for enable, now it goes. So Windows Hello comes during the deployment of Windows, and it asks for, hey, you want to put a pin or you want to go for biometric, right? Allow biometric authentication. So through fingerprints or Face ID, right? Um, so minimum pin length, maximum pin length. So all that can be configured with Windows Hello. Um, in our company, what is configured? That we have configured autopilot, so it does not stop at anything, but it does stop at Windows Hello, and it asks for a pin because we want the users to be putting some pin, right? So they could log in later with a pin. That could be alphanumeric characters, that could be just numbers as well, right? So users does put a pin, which users remember only, and then we go ahead and keep deploying the uh, Windows environment for the end user. So this is identity protection. I'm just gonna close that, but Windows Hello, this is now I'm thinking that I should visit that as well because we have configured Windows Hello, and maybe from here I could just change some of the settings. But till now it's going fine in our company. Imported administrative templates. So this is just a preview. So import administrative templates are just for specific environment setting or some software settings. Suppose there's a software that you want to configure. Um, and suppose Adobe Reader, just as I gave an example, there could be many other software. So those companies may have released Intune configurations, right? If that software, suppose Zoom is purchased from a lot of uh, you know companies, right? So Zoom is purchased by a lot of companies. So if maybe you want to configure or send some configurational information settings to suppose you have 10,000 devices and Zoom is installed in every device, Zoom meeting option, meeting software. So then you can add those templates if the company has released Zoom in tune configurations, right? Kiosk, we know that in a there's a conference going on, there's some exhibition going on, you want to connect to a computer, kiosk computer, right? And it's a public computer, and people can connect, and you don't need to require them to put username password. It's a public PC. In libraries, you have kiosk as well. So you want to configure that, then with some restricted options there that they can only browse. That's it. They cannot install anything, cannot download anything, right? So then kiosk configurations can be pushed through Intune. Virtual Defender for endpoint desktop devices running Windows 10 or later. So this is for desktop only. And if you have desktops in your company, then yes, you can come here and configure those. They do recommend that you can go for endpoint security as well, which is this one, right? That it will be better handled with a better set of or bundle of policies. Network boundary, when using Microsoft Defender Application Guard and Microsoft Edge, you can protect your environment from sites that aren't trusted by your organization. This feature is called a network boundary. Wow. So untrusted sites cannot be reached if network boundary is configured. It allows you to add network domains, IPv4 and IPv6 ranges, proxy servers, and more to your network boundary. Items in this boundary are trusted. So you can add number of IP ranges that if you connect to those IP ranges, 192.168, 2.4, 2.1 up to 2.254, and 192.1, 10.0.1.1 up to 10.0 or 1.100 or 254. You can add some ranges that these are safe. Maybe these are just other branches. And any other IP range other than that, you won't be able to connect. We can put those policies through, managed switches as well, and some firewalls as well, right? and from here as well. PKCS certificate, so you want to push some certificates, public key pair certificates to enable certificate-based authentication in your org. So suppose you have a security certificate downloaded in Windows 10 devices. If any Windows 10 or 11 device has a security certificate, only then let it connect to other network services in the company. If they don't have a certificate, security certificate downloaded, then they cannot connect to company resources. So you can do that too. Suppose you revoke a certificate, then also users cannot connect to any company resources. So that's if you want to implement that kind of infrastructure, set up an imported public key pair certificate to enable SMIME email encryption in your email profiles. Email encryption can be handled through Exchange Online as well. There are some third-party software as well, or you can try to deploy that through Intune here as well. SECP, Simple Certificate Enrollment Protocol, certificate to enable certificate-based authentication. So if you want to enroll certificates to machines or users, that's another way to deploy to thousands of machines. Um, yeah, security assessment education. Education profiles in Intune are designed for students to take a test or exam on devices. This feature includes a take a test app settings to add a test URL, choose how end users sign into the test, and more. When the user signs in, the Take a Test app automatically opens with the test you entered. No other apps can run on the device while the test is in progress. Amazing. So you can, for the exam centers, test centers, right? When it opens, you cannot open anything else, right? That's amazing. That's, I think, new. Shared multi-user devices. If there are devices where you have morning shift, afternoon shift, evening shift, and night shift, but same device is being used by 4 or 5 people, then what kind of settings you want to implement? So you can push it to through Intune as well. Trusted certificate, import the trusted root certificate from your certificate authority and assign it to the devices that use SEEP and PKCS certificates to authenticate with your. So if you want to implement security certificates, then you have to import it from CA, Certificate Authority, the machine that gives the server that provides certificates, import it from there and push it to all the end users. So they could be authenticated from certificates as well, like second layer of authentication, we can say. We don't, many big companies, maybe military installations, maybe credit card, banks, they might implement that. Even in Scotiabank, when I was there, we didn't have certificate-based authentication for our local inside the bank computers. So VPN, if you want to push the VPN configurations to thousands of devices, Wi-Fi, if you want to push some specific Wi-Fi configuration. Suppose you enable public profile in the firewall for Wi-Fi, so you can do that. Or maybe you put that it only two Wi-Fi connections, the home and the company Wi-Fi. This device can connect, but no other Wi-Fi it can connect. So you can put those restrictions there. Windows Health Monitoring. Microsoft can collect event data and provide recommendations to improve performance on your Windows devices. So it can give you some health statistics as well, right? And then wired network. So settings for wired network. If your machines are connected to wired network, then what kind of settings that you want implemented and push to all the laptops. Actually, if I select that and click create and click test and next, so authentication mode in wired network, user, machine, guest. Well, it's the user authentication mode normally is there. We haven't configured that in our company. Remember credentials at each logon, authentication period, authentication retry delays. period, start period, maximum. You know what? We may not really need that because you're getting authentication from Active Directory. This is just extra authentication we can see from wired network. Wired network also connects to either Azure Active Directory or uh, on-premises Active Directory. You don't really need extra ones. I haven't seen friends also implementing that. Okay, so this is the introduction to how many types of configuration profiles are there in templates, right? So these are all the settings. Yeah.
You know what, Amir? I think I was just looking, remembered something, but I think I did one for 802.1 for Mac
Mm-hmm.
OS devices. We're talking
Uh-huh.
about years ago. Now that you reminded me. So there was something
Uh-huh.
that we did for 802.1x,
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
and that
Nice.
worked. Yeah, and that worked for that specific configuration profile. So it
Mm-hmm.
was under a trusted certificate, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So you have implemented something, but not through Intune.
Through Intune,
Implemented.
yeah, through Intune. It's just a configuration setting for wired
Oh,
network.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. That's good. Great to
yeah, a
know.
long time
Okay.
ago.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. So yeah,
But
those
it
configurations
is
can be
possible.
implemented. Uh-huh. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it is possible if it's required. Otherwise, yeah,
Yeah,
many
exactly.
companies would go for it. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, according to company compliance policies.
That's right.
So, cool. Okay, cool. So we have gone through some of the configurations that Intune offers. It's not some, it's a lot of configurations for different scenarios. So if that scenario applies to you, we're going to be going again, as I'm saying, we're going to go for endpoint security, endpoint protection. But before that, there is still this settings catalog. So what is that? So if you go to settings catalog, start from scratch and select settings you want from the library of available settings. Oh, what is that? So if I click create here, then I'm going to put test and just want to show you next. And with the settings catalog, you can choose which settings you want to configure. Click on add settings to browse or search the catalog for the settings. Okay. When we click the add settings, so this is pretty much everything that we just talked about in a, one page kind of thing. So uh, this is like what was categorized there. This is in one page, all the settings. So you want to go this way, or you want to go that way. That's where it could be easier, but definitely I went for the templates way because it's much more organized. It's too much diving into so many things with one. But yes, in one go you can go for, okay, I just want that setting from this category, that setting from that category. Instead of deploying the whole category, you can go here and start choosing configurations. You click something and the configurations come here. Then you start deep diving even more into more configurations. Do your homework, what you're implementing. But it's a settings from certain categories. I select this from certain other. I select this and this and this. So it's a pretty much same thing, but in one go, you go for just a few different settings from different categories. Otherwise, you first deploy a template in the other thing in another way, and then you only can select from that template. This is all template settings in one page. So this is quite a long process, but anyone wants to configure this way and keep on going with the grocery list and do shopping, then you can do it this way as well. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go back here and then click. Then there is import ADMX as well. Import ADMX or administrative templates policies. So Intune import ADMX. So custom ADMX or ADML. policies. So this is for administrative policies for languages, or this is for configurations. And what kind of templates are available there? Import custom. So you can import custom and third-party partner ADMX. This is just configurations, right? And ADML templates into the Intune Admin Center. Once imported, you can create a device configuration policy using these settings and then assign the policy to your managed devices. So this article shows that what you need to know, a maximum of 10 ADMX files can be uploaded. Suppose you want configurations for Mozilla firewall. Somebody's using, or pretty much a lot of users are using that. Suppose somebody's using Firefox. So any third party or non-Microsoft application for which that vendor has released Intune configurations or ADMX. So ADMX file, then you can go ahead and simply add that here. So if suppose there are some application, there is some application that you have deployed on 10,000 machines, but there are no specific security policies for that or configuration policies that that vendor has released, or no ADMX file for that application has been released by the vendor, then obviously, you can only deploy that application, but you can't really manage or control that application. So the example of what ADMX is here. For any third party, you want more configurations that could deploy from Intune. So how many ADMX are there? So there's, well, they're just still giving example, Adobe Reader, Mozilla Firefox, Zoom. Obviously, the famous ones are there, all the famous applications. So for Zoom, there is ADMX, and I'll be adding that to in my company. And configuration profiles, import ADMX, and then Mozilla, Firefox, Zoom meetings. So then you can further control those applications, because if 10,000 users have these applications in their laptop, we would definitely want to control them and especially patch them. There are some security loopholes that hackers have discovered. You need to patch those. And the Zoom, suppose application is on 10,000 machines. How can you patch them one by one? So you have to have some central configurational template that you need to deploy. If I go for furthermore, use Windows 10, 11 templates to configure group policy. So we're going to be deploying one or two ADMX templates later as well. We're going to be deploying OMA URI as well. I should be putting those terminologies here. Like this is not exact lab, but a good read for some of the terminology that later would be used. So ADMX templates, especially for the most commonly used applications. Okay. Okay, so if I go back here, um, uh, we talked about profiles, and we're about to deploy one profile here. Then we talked about import ADMS in profiles, a lot of stuff as well. In import ADMS, since we're talking about it, if I click import, select an ADMX file, and so you have to download the ADMX file. Suppose you have you want it from Mozilla Firefox, so you will go to the mozilla.com website, and obviously search where is the ADMX for Mozilla or for Zoom or for Adobe Reader. Obviously those vendors would have created those ADMX files and then import it here. If there's a default language related file as well that they've released. Suppose there are configuration settings for Zoom for French Zoom, or configuration settings for Zoom, but in Chinese or some other language, right? So you have to then add not only ADMX, but ADML as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, cancel that, profiles. I'm going to go to create profile here. And then again, we're talking about Windows 10 and later. Then we're talking about templates. And then I'm going to go for endpoint protection. I'm going to select that. I'm going to click create. Then it's your first name, or company and point protection. Uh, well, so I'm just going to put that here, Control A, Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to go for next. So this is what we will be implementing, but we could implement anything else as well. Microsoft Defender Application Guard. So do you want to implement that? Application Guard is if enabled or for Edge, Application Guard opens unapproved sites in a Hyper-V virtualized browser container. That's pretty amazing feature, but what are the repercussions if you do implement? So what is this first of all? It's going to, so I'm going to go to diagram here, application guard, pretty amazing, but suppose there's a malicious application and in your laptop, you have opened some malicious application. Now that application, or if it is malicious and Microsoft uh, Defender Defender Application Guard. So Microsoft Defender Application Guard. What does it do? So what it does is that you click some application, it will actually require that you have already in Windows 10, right? Win 10, you have Hyper-V installed. Hyper-V is like it is like VMware Workstation. So we have VMware Workstation installed here, right? This one. So you have Hyper-V installed. This is Microsoft product Hyper-V, and then inside there's a either you can create a virtual machine or you can create a container. So virtual machine takes more resources, but container is much more simplified and it does not take as much resources as it also has some DLLs or files of an operating system, but not the whole operating system and application on top of it. So what it does is you open some malicious link or application. If Microsoft Defender sees that, oh, this is malicious one, so it opens the Hyper-V application, then it opens a container, loads a container inside, and then it opens the malicious file inside the container, which is all protected environment. So this is like your machine, and then inside there is another virtual machine which is not connected to your machine's environment or network, and it is not connected to your whole network. So it's a totally protected environment where it will open a malicious application or malicious link, and then it's all protected. And then obviously it will check and it will quarantine it. If it finds it, yes, I was right. Microsoft Defender says, oh, I was right. I thought it was malicious, and it is malicious. So I won't let this malicious link or application be opened in this laptop. Instead, I'm going to open it in the protected environment. I'm going to keep it here and warn all the users that, hey, you opened a malicious link, but I didn't let you open it in the laptop because it would have spread it across the network to other machines as well. So I opened it in your Hyper-V container, and that's it. That's a protected environment here, right? So that's the overall. So we discussed that, me and my junior admin, we discussed it. Then we thought that, okay, actually we didn't test it, but we did go for, hey, if we install Hyper-V in every laptop in our laptop in our company, and we at that time were giving 8 GB memory to all, so the laptops were kind of slow already. So with Hyper-V installed and then another container installed, that requires its own CPU and RAM. So we did not implement it, and we we talked to the director as well, and director, she said that no, we have antivirus already and anti-malware as well. So we have protection on the laptop level, and they're scanning in real time. So application guard is kind of gonna, consume a lot of resources, CPU and memory resource, excuse me, or CPU and memory resources of your laptop. Now our policy is to give laptops 16 GB RAM laptops and i7 11 gen or 10 gen laptops. They are faster, but Teams and Chrome, those are two applications that do slow down even faster laptops as well. And on top of that, if we implement Hyper-V and then container, although it's a very good security, it does slow down. And we do have alternate security methods as well, which are real-time scans and blocking that Microsoft Defender antivirus does. So yeah, we did not implement that, but this is what the concept of application guard is, which is pretty cool concept for a security sensitive company. This would be something good to implement. So security guard, I'll just put it here. Application guard, Microsoft Defender application guard. But it has a lot of settings. It starts with that. So that's what you're going to face first, and you're going to tell the boss that, oh, that hey, we have this audio while you're sharing, share computer audio. Guys, are you able to hear me? Are you able to
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Hmm. Okay, why is it saying share computer audio? Am I not sharing already? Okay, so here we are not really, okay, thank you. We're not really configuring this application card, but what it is, you know now, right? You want to implement, you can implement that. Then Microsoft Defender Firewall. Yeah, so configure Microsoft Defender Firewall settings. Now remember, we have, this is the uh, duplicate tab here. I'm coming to a duplicate tab. So if I go to devices, press OK, and then go to compliance policies. In the compliance policies, remember that we have implemented the firewall. So compliance policy is already there, right? If I go inside and go to properties, and then if we go to security settings, so we have firewall required already, right? Antivirus, anti-spyware, all required. So compliance policy has it. We are on configuration profile now. So in configuration profile, it goes a bit in depth. In compliance policy, it just says enable. That's it. Nothing else. But here it says, okay, when you enable in configuration profile, what exact features you want enabled in that. So you need both. That's why you need both the compliance policy and a configuration profile. You need both of them, right? Okay. Here, the heck? Sorry. Oops. It's today is long weekend, right? So our external vendor, he just started a meeting, and it's a critical meeting, and I think he knows that we're not around. Okay, sorry. So here, file transfer protocol, do you want to enable that? It's not configured. Maybe you want to block it through FTP. Traffic should go through your PC's firewall or not. Uh, in my company, it's not configured. So if they want, and I'm using actually FTP to download some critical audios, and so I could just say allow. If not configured, it's still allow, right? Security association idle time before deletion. Security association is just a set of some security policies. Security associations are deleted after network traffic is not seen for this number of seconds. So security association, if we go there, the firewall configuration service provider, CSP, configuration service provider. The firewall, CSP, allows the MDM or mobile device management server to configure the Windows Defender Firewall global settings per profile settings and the desired set of custom rules to be enforced on the device. Using the firewall CSP, the IT admin can now manage non-domain devices and reduce the risk of network security threats across all systems. So this is non-domain devices as well. Some, devices that are not joined to the domain, maybe Linux devices or maybe some other, okay, Android and iOS devices are also there, right? So this configuration does not tell a lot, but security associations are always about uh, you know, uh, all the profiles that are connected. And if there is no response and no traffic going on, so it could disable that as well. But anyway, we didn't implement or configure this setting, pre-shared key encoding. So yeah, many scenarios are you have to really go in depth. Hey, what does it even mean? So obviously those settings are there, but then you have to do your work. Me and my junior admin, we took scheduled a meeting, 1 hour meeting, and left all our work because we needed to decide. And then when options like this and IPsec exceptions and certificate revocation, which does not implement in our common end user environment, when these options come, we would just look at it, we would Google it, and then check that, hey, does it even apply to our company? And we would find that, hey, this is overkill. It's something that is for specific scenarios. So it does take a lot of time, but once you understand, then yeah, it's something that we don't appreciate. Key encoding two applications when they're connecting with each other, they need a pre-shared key. It's like two secret agents suppose are meeting for the first time, and they're saying, "Hey, how's the weather?" And the other agent, so the first agent has the question and he knows the answer as well, right? So the other agent has to exactly say the same answer. Weather is not that good. Suppose that was supposed to be the answer that the other agent says, and he says that. So it's pre-shared information that both agents know. If the answer was wrong, the first agent will know that, oh, this guy is some imposter, right? Impersonator. This guy is not the one that I want to meet. So the thing is, pre-shared keys, two applications are connecting, so that now in end user environment, we don't really need that. IPsec exemptions. IPsec is a IP security protocol. This is very, very important. Like it protects IPsec protects you from all kinds of hacker attacks. The major famous types of hacker attacks IPsec protects you from. Exemptions means that, hey, for certain type of traffic, do not cross-check for any impersonator or a hacker attempt or activity. So we're not implementing any exemptions. This means we want it to check every possibility if it's a legit connection or it's actually some imposter, right? So these are some of the configurations that we would want as is, and we would not. So there's long list of configurations that comes and certificate verification list. We don't use certificate. Our machines get authenticated from Azure Active Directory or Entra ID, so we don't use certificates. So no configuration. Opportunistically match authentication set per keying module. Seriously. So it keeps getting interesting and interesting, and there are so many new scenarios are there for set keying modules to ignore the entire authentication set if they do not support all authentication suites. In that set, if enabled, key modules will ignore unsupported authentication suites. So this is also a advanced security configuration that when the security keys are cross-checked, at that time, if some of the key modules inside are not according to the standards of Microsoft, then they will drop the whole authentication method. So opportunistically match authentication, you have to do your homework, go read some 400 pages books and do some exams, CISSP exams if you want to go in depth. Otherwise, two administrators talking to each other, hey, do we need it? Nah. And we just go ahead. So no, obviously we need to have some knowledge of it. So we do get some knowledge, and then I don't think we need that for end user environment. We have enough security. Yeah, if you're a security sensitive organization, you go in depth and then discuss more. And good luck. Packet queuing, specify how scaling for the software on the receive side is enabled for the encrypted receive and clear text forward for the IPsec tunnel gateway scenario. This ensures that the packet order is preserved. So when the, like seriously, when there are traffic entering your environment, so how secure are they encrypted, first of all, and are they in order? So there's an email coming and it's divided into separate packets, so they should be in order, uh, and then it would be received properly and read properly. If they are in or not in order or dropped, one or two packets dropped, then there will be an error, and the message to the sender will be sent that, okay, can you resend that? There was some issue with that first email. So these are some of the network settings and packet queuing that we may not be very interested in. And it's in the Defender firewall that the packet queuing should be properly handled by the firewall. Yes, for a lot of huge traffic, maybe you can come here and configure. Otherwise, we leave it as is. And yes, this is important. Domain firewall, do you want to enable it? Yeah. And although it will be enabled in endpoint security, if you suppose not configure it here, so we are in configuration profile, right? The compliance policy already has this covered. I mean, it will enable those profiles anyway. But if you want to, because we tested it, still, I'm just gonna enable that stealth mode. So domain workplace profile. So where are those? If I go to my firewall here, right? I hope it lets me open that. Yep. So see this. Private networks, guest or public networks are there and they're on, right? So do you want them to be on? So I'm saying domain workplace, yes, enable firewall, but what do you want configured here? IPsec secured packet exemption with stealth mode, shielded, unicast responses to multicast broadcasts, inbound notifications. Yeah, kinda. Block notifications from displaying to users when an application is blocked from listening. No, I don't want to block it. So we can keep it as is, but you have to do your homework and check that each and every feature. What does it say? But when you enable, some recommended configurations do get enabled, but you want to go in depth. You're a security expert. You have some department. You have a dedicated separate security team. Go tell them and discuss with them all the features. And then, but I want firewall profile of domain, the workplace profile, to be enabled. But some advanced settings, I would have to come back here from time to time and do that, or just discuss it with your network teams, security teams, right? Private discoverable, I'll just enable, and but it also has a lot of in-depth configurations that you have to do your homework on. And if I start discussing all those, then yeah, maybe I'll take 3 more classes just to discuss those. And many of the things, if you don't have a good security background with terminologies, would be this uh, uh, more confusing. So I've enabled the 3 profiles here: domain, workplace, private, discoverable network, public. So public is when you are connecting your laptop in restaurants, right? So definitely some more restricted policies will be enabled. Uh, Better not connect from a public network to your company. Better connect it from your home and from office. But if you really want to connect from public, then recommendation is, and we are about to implement that in our company as well, and our users will not like it. So what we are implementing is that they will have to open VPN and connect with the VPN. Once they are connected, then only they can connect to our M365 resources, although Microsoft says they are secure, and Azure resources, right? M365 is a category, and Azure is a category, right? So for this, it's very, very much we are going to implement. But for M365, that like you want to go for SharePoint and OneDrive. So do you need VPN for that? So yeah, we're still going to decide that. But for Azure, definitely you want to create virtual machines, you want to create storage, you want to create networking, databases you want to handle. So you better first connect to our VPN. And which VPN is that? This is Azure VPN, right? So this is Azure VPN, and then you can create something here if you have connected with Azure VPN. Otherwise, no way. So firewall rules, then there is the defend. So I've enabled those. You can just add more rules there as well. 150 contain up to Microsoft Defender firewall rules. If I click the add button here, name of the rule and then action, allow block, and yeah, there are some configurations here. Interfaces type, remote access, wireless, and local area network, local addresses, any address specified. So you can check that. Oh, I don't want traffic coming from 10.0.0.0 or 172.16 private IP addresses. I only want traffic from 192.168.16, suppose, or 192.168.2.0 slash 24. So you can add that kind of rule as well, that I am accepting traffic from specific routes only or IP ranges only. And then it goes to smart screen encryption. So we're going to be exploring all that, and I'm going to be enabling and discussing that what we have implemented and what Microsoft recommends. And so then we're going to go through all this and we're going to configure that. Then we're going to go for endpoint security and some of those baselines as well. And then we're going to uh, log in from those users and start T-shoot if there's any required. So yeah, after the break, we're going to go through these as well. So let's connect after the break and continue with the policies. Okay, so I'm just going to mute and pause. Well, 14, 24, 34. All right, guys, so hopefully you're able to hear me. I hope you're able to hear me. Yes, no, maybe yes, maybe no. 50-50, 11:58. There was a yes. The okay,
Oh,
yeah. You able to hear me?
yeah,
All right, cool. Thank you.
all good.
Yeah, I think yeah, the more lecture and less lab has made it all boring. But anyway, I'll just start. Oh, did I start the recording? Yeah, it is. So yeah, we're gonna implement this endpoint protection configuration profile on our devices. So for that, we were talking about before Microsoft Defender Application Guard, then we talked about firewall. Then there's Smart Screen, which is, really lets you not open malicious applications and malicious links. So Smart Screen for apps and files, enable Smart Screen for file execution and running apps. Now, this is, pain in the neck kind of thing, because I had to start one application for a user, and it was not even accepting local machine administrator privileges to start that application, because Smart Screen said that no way am I letting you run this application, while that was just a safe, legit application that was supposed to be run. So yeah, that was something that then yeah, Smart Screen has levels as well, that you can push one button and then it will let you use the admin privileges to run an application or install an application and run it. or even admin privileges it will not let you accept. So it's very useful, it's very restrictive and useful feature. But if you want implement, so in ours, yeah, actually we in our company we did not implement that. But this is something that we are now thinking of seriously implementing because we had under attack for like 2 times. And somebody clicked a link and somebody actually installed some application that she was not supposed to install, and start. If smart screen was there, then it would not have let that application be deployed, or not deployed, but run. So we're going to actually, this reminds me that I should go back and create a ticket for that, that we're going to be implementing smart screen. Okay, unverified files execution, especially this is something we could block. So unverified file execution .cpl some unverified extensions, uh, or unverified files. This, if you enable, it could be false positive as well, which means that it could block some files that are okay for us, but for it, it may be unverified, and we would be stuck with this. So just check out, implement it on small number of IT users or trained users, and then implement on larger audience. But be careful that when you implement that unverified file execution, it may stop you from executing a legit application as well. It may or may not. Most probably, it will let you uh, if it's verified or it's good. So I'll still put it to not configured, but we have discussed that, okay, if you enable it. So suppose I go for smart screen enable, it does not give you any extra options. But again, if you enable it, it's not gonna let you then. So you have to go somewhere else for smart screen configurations options and configure it, because uh, it might not accept your admin privilege as well to run a legit application that was supposed to be running, and it stopped it. Okay, so not configured, but yeah, these are the configurations in this endpoint protection. So before you implement, you will know that, oh, these are the, some of the settings that we would be interested in going through and implement some of them, right? Windows encryption is encrypt devices. Yes, I mean, if I go to the compliance policy, compliance, right? So did we not implement encryption, real-time protection? Oh, require password, minutes and activity. Yeah, there you go. Require encryption of data storage on device. So, and compliance policy implements major stuff, but then configuration profile goes for more in-depth configurations. Um, so if we go for Windows encryption, so compliance policy has already said that yes, enable encryption, but configuration profile, now we choose that encrypt devices. Yeah, so select require will enable BitLocker device encryption depending on device hardware and Windows version. And users may be asked to confirm there is no third-party encryption on their device. So they're saying that we're going to enable Microsoft encryption called BitLocker, but it will pop up this option for end user that, hey, do you have any third-party encryption? Like suppose you have from McAfee, um, and for any other antivirus or any encryption software, do you have it or not? So users would be confused then, hey, what do I do? What do I answer? I have it or I don't have it? I don't know. End users don't know that, right? So turning on Windows encryption will, while third-party encryption is in use, will render the device unstable. So obviously they're just recommending that, hey, go ahead and enable this encryption, but if you have some other vendor's encryption enabled as well, then yeah, your computer will be not stable. So obviously when we are deploying Microsoft Defender encryption, we don't need McAfee or other antivirus related or security software encryptions then. But if we have that, and it did happen once, actually multiple times, in my company that we got the laptop from somewhere. We did not really, my junior admin did not really went through all the security hardening policies, and we had to urgently give that laptop to the new hire. And the company from which we purchased it, they already put McAfee there. So McAfee was there. It was not really removed and security hardened. So there was that pop-up coming for the user that, hey, do you want McAfee encryption or Microsoft BitLocker encryption? So then we realized, oh man, why is McAfee there? So we uninstalled it and blah blah blah. So anyway, yes, require encryption. I'm just gonna put that. Yes, we want to have Microsoft BitLocker encryption, which will encrypt the whole disk. Encrypt storage card. If you This is mobile only. If you select this policy, so you can see that this endpoint protection, who- whoever is added to this, whichever users are added to the security group and that security group added to the endpoint protection, then um, that uh, this policy will implement on those users. Now, those users could be connected to the laptop, or those users could be connected to the cell phone, and the policy will follow them on the cell phone as well. If you enable this, yes, they won't, their storage card, suppose you get a 32 GB storage card, right? And implemented on that. Mobile storage cards, right? Everyone obviously knows or seen that. So when you attach any of these storage cards, and just to put some more data, obviously you would have to then implement, the encryption will be implemented on that too if you click this option. BitLocker base settings. So some of the basic settings of the BitLocker, which encrypts a whole device or drive. So warning for other disk encryption. This is again that, hey, do you want our Microsoft encryption, or do you want some third party vendors encryption? So warning for other. So do you want to give a warning if it's, it's not blocked? This means yes, there will be a warning. Hey, suppose you have McAfee encryption, so it will warn you. Hey, we're implementing Microsoft BitLocker encryption. Why do you have McAfee encryption? So if you block it, then the warning will not come. Also, allow standard users to enable encryption during Azure AD join. This is We don't have Azure AD. Azure AD join is already on not configured, but it's not something that we can click here. But the standard users to enable encryption. Now we will enable encryption, and end users are not supposed to be deciding that they want to enable encryption or not. Many of them won't even know what is BitLocker. So it's not end users call, it's us, the administrators, who's going to implement that. Configure encryption methods. So there are encryption methods as well. Select enable allows you to configure the encryption methods for OS drives, fixed data drives, and removable data drives. By selecting not configured, BitLocker will use the default encryption method for the drive. By selecting not configured, BitLocker will use the default encryption method for the drive. So the thing is that what encryption method you want, basically we want BitLocker. That's it. So you don't need to really enable that because BitLocker by default will be enabled. Suppose you enable that, but then what level of encryption you want for each drive. So there are different encryption methods where you want to encrypt it. You choose the higher number. The logic behind that is that it will take longer time for the hackers to decrypt it, but also suppose you want to encrypt some of your own data and then you want to access that. So when you want to encrypt, it will take a bit longer time. It will take more CPU and memory. to encrypt your huge data. Suppose it's huge as well. And then when you're decrypting it, so when you're trying to access it again, it will take a bit more longer time to decrypt the data as well. So it's up to you. More security you need to go for higher numbers, less security. It's not less security like it's insecure now. It's still secure, but higher security or not regular security, up to you, right? So this I'm just gonna not click non-configured, but in production environment, in our company, we did not configure this one because BitLocker then implements the default encryption level, which is good for us. We're not a very security sensitive company, but some security sensitive companies would choose these options for different drives, fixed data drives, operating system drives. So the drive that has an operating system, Windows 10 is installed in one drive. Maybe there are second disk that has the data, and then the removable USB drives that you are connecting, how do you want to encrypt those, and what level of encryption you want for those. So BitLocker OS drive settings, additional authentication at startup. Uh, so do you want additional authentication? So selecting require allows you to configure the additional authentication requirements at system startup, including utilizing the use of TPM or trusted platform module or startup pin requirements. Like, it's going to be implemented already that you can log in by putting a pin. Pin is just some numbers, or you can add alphanumeric. So alphabets plus numeric, uh, you can put there. So that would already be there. We did not really require that because when we deploy, it's going to ask for a password. It's going to ask for a pin anyway. Windows Hello is enabled, right? So Hello feature will require us to put a pin. So we don't have to really put here, but if suppose it does not ask, I'm going to come back here and I have to click require here. BitLocker with non-compatible TPM chip. This is non-compatible TPM chip is even the option is disabled. Actually, when I click require, then it will enable. So I did not go for this option, so that's why TPM options to trusted platform module. It will detect a physical chip in your motherboard, then it will let you go ahead and install BitLocker. We're saying, it's our test environment. It's a virtual machine. We don't have an underlying, this virtual machine does not have an underlying motherboard directly connected to it. So that's why it's TPM chip will not be detectable in the virtual machine. So I'm not clicking require here. And then first you select encryption, you let the PIN be enabled, and then so all those settings follow up with it, with what you implement there. So for physical laptops, enable it, right? And even if you keep it to default options, they are good enough. High security, then you go in depth with all options. What do you want? Right. So in my company, because we have obviously all companies have physical laptops or desktops, so we enabled it in our company. Right here, it's going to give issue. We don't have TPM chip here. But what are the options? The regular options, nothing very complicated. Just that OS drive recovery, user creation of recovery password, do the creation of recovery key. So do you want to recover a password if you forgot that? BitLocker recovery information stored to Azure Active Directory. Okay, so this thing, this thing is important. What is this? Save BitLocker recovery information to Azure Active Directory. Oops, for this very feature, I need to enable this. So what is this feature? And this happened to us many times in the company that a user could not log in. So what happens is when the user tries to log in from a laptop, right? I'll just create another one here. I'll grab the laptop again. Oh, seriously, what did I just do? I want Oracle Box. Man, Oracle VirtualBox really. Ugh. In another college, I had to use it, and it stands up to its reputation. I mean, it sucks. Very bad. I mean, it really gave me a hard time in the class, VirtualBox. I'm so used to VMware Workstation. Okay, anyway, so what I'm talking about is that a user called and she's at home or he's at home, and she said that, hey, I cannot log into my laptop in the morning at 9 a.m., right? So office is starting and I'm getting a call. So I'm saying, okay, what's wrong with you? With the laptop, not with you. So she says that, okay, I just see that BitLocker option. So yeah, in our company, we require everyone to put a BitLocker key. So they first put a BitLocker key, um, and normally they just attach put that key on a sticker and they put the sticker here, how secure. But BitLocker key they put, and then when the windows load, then they put pin, hello pin as well to log in. So there are two authentications here. But somehow BitLocker key was not working for her, or she or he lost that sticker where the BitLocker key was written. So it was not working. So now we have to recover the key, right? And she's at home. What do I do? Like we need to resolve it now. So this option here, mhm, save BitLocker key information to Azure Active Directory, really is a time saver. And we can get up to working status right away. Where what happens is that when you um, enable BitLocker in a laptop, it encrypts the whole drive. Now the drive is encrypted, obviously. So the BitLocker key and recovery keys both are saved in Entra ID or Azure Active Directory. Um, so the recovery key actually is saved in recovery key saved in Azure Active Directory, which is now Entra ID. And see, in Intune, they did not change it yet. Slowly, they will change it there. So Entra ID. So this was a really, the whole problem resolver. I went to the user. Suppose the user is John, and or Janet. And so in user John's in Azure Active Directory profile or Entra ID profile, I went to devices, and in the devices, I checked the recovery key. So BitLocker info. So that BitLocker recovery key, RK recovery key, so I got that recovery key. It was a very long one. So on the phone, I told her that, okay, just put it there, or him. And she kept on putting the key until then press enter. And then, yeah, then it asks, well, okay, this is the recovery key. Now log into the Windows. As soon as they log into the Windows, new key, new BitLocker key is assigned to them. So recovery key is very important. You want to have the information to yourself, I mean, accessible. So you have to have this option enabled. Otherwise, if they don't save it there, then you can tell the user, hey, can you come to the office? Ha, that's not, it's not gonna look very good. Okay. Um, so first I had to enable this require, right? Suppose I not configure it. So the whole option goes down. So that's what I was saying. A bundle of features you have to enable, and then some of the features then stays enabled. Some of the features you can block, but you need one or two very critical features. So you have to enable some of the other features as well. So I enabled that too. Now I can say that yes, please enable Save BitLocker recovery information to Azure Active Directory. Now, I think this is also available somewhere else in endpoint security baselines settings as well. But this is something that you must, it's a must, yeah. There's no way around it. I mean, this is a must if you want to really let the user keep working. Otherwise, it's a disruptive thing that, okay, now we don't have a recovery key. Where do we get it from? If it's not in Active Directory. Actually, I have to check that too. We have already that option enabled since ages. So we didn't have to check, okay, if it's not there, then where? Obviously, it could be somewhere else as well, but that's a must from Active Directory and telling it on phone. On phone, you have to still check who is talking. I mean, you don't recognize this person, then don't give, could be a hacker. Okay, so BitLocker recovery information stored to Active Directory, yes. This is enabled. Client-driven recovery password rotation. Recovery password rotation means it keeps on changing the recovery password as well. So this is client-driven. So on the client side, if there's a recovery password given for the client, actually, this setting initiates a client-driven recovery password rotation after an OS drive recovery, either by using boot MGR or WinRE. Okay, this is kind of something much longer. I didn't go for that, but good luck if you want to implement that. Store recovery information as your Active Directory before enabling BitLocker. Yeah, I mean, even if you enable BitLocker in a machine, just let it put the recovery key in Azure Active Directory or Enter ID. They're saying that store recovery information in Azure Active Directory before enabling BitLocker. So yes, suppose a BitLocker implements and there's something wrong with it, and now you need a recovery key. So better store it before you enable BitLocker, which it implements encryption on your drive. Once encrypted, obviously, only you can decrypt it. Your username can decrypt it. Pre-boot recovery message and URL. Suppose you want to pre-boot. So this is just before the operating system starts. So what kind of message you want to put there? That, hey, have a safe day or something like that. Pre-boot recovery message. You can put here that, be careful and always change your password or something like that. BitLocker fixed data drive. So this was for uh, uh, this was BitLocker OS drive settings. So this is something that we understand, obviously. If I go to the diagram, so there is OS drive, right? So that's the drive where operating system is. Why? I mean, why am I writing it if it's so obvious? And then there's another category here that is BitLocker fixed data drive. So that's the second drive. So suppose there's a one drive here that has OS, and then there's a second drive, drive E, drive D, suppose CD-ROM. If CD-ROMs are not there nowadays, they're not there, it's USB, right? So second drive would be D drive. So this is OS drive, this is data drive. So if you have data drive as well, developers normally have that. So in that case, what? So in that case, how do you want for the operating system drive? Basically. So, and these are kind of same settings. Fixed drive recovery, enable, and store recovery information in Azure. In my company, all laptops have one drive only. So that's why I didn't configure it. I don't remember configuring it. I'm sure I didn't configure it for my company, but some companies may provide laptops or desktops with two drives. In that case, you can do this as well. In our case as well, in the that lab, we don't have two drives. We just have one drive. But for the second drive, this is very important that you configure this one as well. If your company actually gives, or majority of the users have two drives. Yeah.
Your company has a network drive, I'm sure, Amir, like a personal drive or
Yes.
home drive or something. I
Yes.
know a lot of companies, they have their folder. You all have a folder.
No, that's a
I'll have
recovery
a
folder,
folder.
which is like 1 GB or 2 GB folder. That's a recovery. But this is data drive, fixed data drives. So that needs to be protected. But that one is a recovery folder. Suppose I encrypt it, and I want to recover an operating system now. So yeah, this needs to be tested. That should we implement this kind of protection on that recovery drive as well or not? Otherwise, it's a second drive where you put data. So yeah, that needs to be tested. Then there's BitLocker removable data settings. In my company, we have disabled USB. So no USBs can be connected. Bingo, that's it. So simple. And yes, we have stopped a huge amount of threats that are coming. Now they are just downloading from internet, anything, or they're sharing from SharePoint or OneDrive. Seriously. SharePoint or OneDrive, both are protected by Microsoft Defender. But only threat now is from third-party sites, what they download That's where they have to be always configured. So if you have enabled, if you've disabled USB, then yes, this doesn't really matter. Your USB ports won't be working anyway, right? But if you have enabled it, then write access to removable data drive not protected by BitLocker. No, I mean, suppose you have enabled USB drive, still don't enable this option. Don't enable this option, right? Because your CEO is connecting a USB drive, right? And that it will require that, hey, CEO, first I'm encrypting your drive with BitLocker, and then you can work. So CEO doesn't want that. Maybe CEO has a Linux machine as well, and there Microsoft BitLocker does not work in Linux machine, right? Or Mac OS. So you have to be careful what you configure for data drive settings, but just disable it. Simple. You know what? When I arrived in this company, there were some Intune policies already configured, and we found that USB drive was already uh, stopped. And we did reconfigure all the policies, and I think one of the policies somewhere said that, hey, you want to block USB drive, and then we blocked it again. But I don't remember where. It's a matter of Google search or just search here on the top as well. There's a search option. It comes after you have configured it. That where's the USB drive settings. Um, Microsoft Defender exploit guard attack surface reduction. So this is just security and create rules to reduce the attack surface on the managed devices. You can block running of suspicious executables in macros. So in Excel, inside Excel file, you could be running some macro or some automated functions that could be malicious as well, and it could spread some malware. So block running of suspicious executables in macros, scripts, and emails, or you can allow them while still auditing. So this means that you can reduce attack surface, and although we have Microsoft Defender separately doing that, so this could be second layer, we can say. My suggestion, if Microsoft Defender with E5 license or even E3 license, you see that majority of features are enabled for Microsoft Defender and antivirus, then yeah, this is kind of, um, if you're really expert with this kind of configuration, especially macro threats from Excel file or Word file, especially in Excel, you may have been attacked before, you would come here definitely and do this, but we didn't enable this extra configuration. Microsoft Defender has very good default configurations as well, but definitely if they're there, then obviously something is not by default enabled, and that's why they're saying, hey, you want to enable that? Go ahead. So process creation from Adobe Reader. There are some threats from Adobe Reader that have been identified in the past. So they're saying block child processes creation from Adobe Reader. So some hackers have been misusing that too, some child processes, and gaining access somehow with its script. So if you are very tough security sensitive company like banks or credit card company or military institutes or something, so then better go for each one of those and go in depth with the office apps launching child processes. What are child processes, how they pose a threat, launching child. If I go learn more, it actually goes to a page that, okay, so it's giving details. Otherwise, whenever we went to a page, it was giving not much details. The organization's attack surface includes all the places where an attacker could compromise your organization's devices or networks. Reducing your attack surface means protecting your organization's devices and network, which leaves attackers with fewer ways to perform attacks. Configure attack surface reduction rules in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint can help. Attack surface reduction rules target certain software behaviors, such as launching executable files and scripts that attempt to download or run files, running obfuscated or otherwise suspicious scripts, performing behaviors that apps don't usually initiate during normal day-to-day work. So yeah, I mean they give you a lot of attack surface related examples that if application opens some child processes, hackers could actually run some script or access the system and run those scripts. So they have some kind of protections there already. So I'm just gonna put that here. And it's a good read if you want to go in depth with more security through Intune to your devices. But I'll just go back here. So there are different types of known attack procedures, processes that have been detected, and they provide security for that. Untrusted and unsigned processes that run from USB. So block. I mean, audit only also is good. So you get a report of, hey, there was some untrusted unsigned process. Suppose somebody's opening a MS Word file and it's your CEO, and he or she is opening it, and this security comes in and blocks a legit process. So you have to just check, test everything once you enable this, do all kinds of tasks that users do in a day-to-day work, and see if any of the tasks were affected or not, right? So enabling options is easy, but after that, there are some repercussions for that too. Um, Executables that don't meet a prevalence, age, or trusted list criteria. So they have really a lot of scenarios here from which hackers have been known to attack your machines. You want to enable them, you can go through articles on all of them. We kind of went for something familiar and more threatening as per our knowledge, obviously, but otherwise we just let it be and did not actually enabled options that we did not think that gonna happen in our company. Plus, we have, if you go through Microsoft Defender tools and antivirus and anti-malware settings, try to work more on those because they are the first line of defender, the Microsoft Defender itself. But yes, you can always enable from some of those scenarios related protections as well. Attack service rejection exceptions. So you want to have some software path. So an application is deployed and those files are there. You don't want these above protections to be implemented on certain applications there. So you can do that too. Controlled folder access, uh, automatically block access to content in protected folders. This can be enabled in audit block mode. So some protected folders should have blocked access. So this is, I guess, too much security. You can click audit only. That would be more interesting. And then give the path of the application that, hey, this application was accessed and it is protected. And I'm telling you that this guy from this username from this IP connected to it. So yeah, audit only is good unless you were attacked. Obviously, don't react, be proactive. So if you have some sensitive application, then go ahead and test it thoroughly and then implement it. How does it behave if there's some unauthorized access? Network filtering, again, block outbound connection from any app to low reputation IP domain. This can be enabled in Outlook. So this is very good. Suppose somebody connected to your machine, authorized or unauthorized, other than you, and or you as well, but you opened some app that has low reputation of in terms of security. So in that case, will your and it's good because this application, which has a low reputation in terms of security, if it is designed to actually, share or use the network and IP on your network to spread its agents across other machines. So this application should be blocked already, right? So there is network protection and it also is on audit mode. We can at least get a detail of what happened. Suppose there was an attack, right? And this does remind me that I will revisit my Intune settings option for this particular thing. That if somebody opens some application and that is gonna spread some kind of stuff over the network to other connected machines. Anyway, exploit protection, and then is if you want to be protected from exploitation from hackers. So there are some code that you can upload there as well. So there are some scenarios where hackers can gain access to your machines, and those scenarios could be dealt with in this Microsoft Defender exploit guard. But you must have Microsoft Defender license as well. Microsoft Defender should be enabled on your devices. Controlled folders. Okay, we talked about all that, that there's a lot of security and specific scenarios as well. Microsoft Defender application control code integrity policies, enforce or not. So application control code integrity, the code with which the applications are controlled, is their integrity compromised? Did some hacker mess with your application control code and now is able to gain access? So do you want to enforce that, hey, nobody messes with my applications code, and if somebody does, please enforce some kind of blockade on that, right? So something that you should test first, because we have developers in our organization and they do have a lot of lenient configurations there, and they do run a lot of applications there as well. So we don't want their applications to be disrupted. At the same time, we don't want anyone to be installing some kind of malicious code into the application code that they're developing. So developing Defender application control would be um, with thousands of new malicious files created every day using traditional methods like antivirus solutions, signature-based detection to fight against malware provides an inadequate defense. So regular antivirus and anti-malware is not enough. In most organizations, information is the most valuable asset, right? Well, pretty much in every organization. And ensuring that only approved users have access to that information is imperative. However, when a user runs a process, that process has the same level of access to data that the user has. As a result, sensitive information could easily be deleted or transmitted out of the organization if a user unknowingly or knowingly runs malicious software. So application control can help mitigate these types of security threats by restricting the applications that users are allowed to run and the code that runs in the system core. So it can block unsigned scripts and MSI. So that's what it does. Application control policies um, can block unsigned scripts, MSIs. MSI is a package, application deployment package, right? And restrict Windows PowerShell to run in constrained language mode. So this is good. At least, put it on audit mode, if not on enforce mode, because your developers still might be affected, but you still could get some, uh, log files and reports that, hey, we think that malicious application was run from this machine by this username. Trust apps with good reputation. You can just do that. At least trust those applications that have good reputation. So it's audit only. It doesn't disrupt, but it tells us as well that, hey, did some kind of malicious application was run or not, right? Without stopping them from running it. Mm. Microsoft Defender Credential Guard. Again, this is just a credential guard. Your credentials uh, can be, so credential guard is enabling with UEFI lock ensures that credential guard cannot be remotely disabled. Enabling without UEFI lock allows credential guard to be disabled remotely via group policy. So what is credential guard? So there's a setting that they have given, but through okay, so some of the settings we had to actually go for Google. So Microsoft Credential Guard. Obviously, it means that it's guarding credentials. But if you go for Credential Guard prevents credential theft attacks by protecting NTLM password hashes Kerberos ticket granting tickets, TGTs, and credentials stored by applications as domain credentials. So what happens is, what is NTLM password hash? This is in the operating system where the operating systems are installed in that path in C colon backslash suppose backslash Windows, right? So that's where you have all the files there. So NTLM hashes just mean the users who are logging in, their passwords are locally saved somewhere secure inside your Windows application, right? So those are the credential guards that need to be more secure. TGTs offer it lets you connect securely to a file server over the network. Kerberos gives you Kerberos TGTs, right? So ticket granting tickets just lets you authorize, get authorization to connect to network services like file servers, web servers, right? And credential stores in by applications. So whatever stored credentials are there, hackers should not be able to access them, and to prevent them from hacking or getting those passwords, this service is called Credential Guard. So what is Credential Guard? You should know that and go ahead and have reading of this, be knowledgeable about all the security features. But do we need to enable that? We didn't. But because we have then would check it thoroughly. If our director had said that don't be very strict. We're not a very security sensitive institute, um, and our data is in the cloud and it's protected by a Microsoft Defender antivirus. So try to go more, tough configurations in the antivirus itself, and some of the security tools itself instead of from Intune. But we have that option to deploy such settings on all devices from Intune as well. Microsoft Defender Security Center, um, Security Center app and notification. So Security Center, do you have access to Security Center in your machine? If I go for security and maintain Windows security, click. Yes, so that's a Security Center. It is disabled by many administrators as well. And in our organization, it was disabled. So anyone would type security and could not go there, all the users. So then the director says that, hey, we want to check if antivirus what's the position of antivirus? Is it installed or not? And what are the other security settings of our system? So enable it. So I had to go in this policy and I had to enable it, right? So in many machines, many companies, it's not enabled, the Windows security. But once you go there, okay, Windows security, once you go there, you can actually disable, so hackers can also go there and they can disable your antivirus. They can disable your firewall. So there's a reason it was blocked. But it should be enabled for those like administrators, maybe. In fact, hackers would love to crack the password of administrators because then they have more powers. So yeah, there's a reason that it was blocked. But suppose you enable it, then what kind of configurations you want there? Do you want to block this section? Do you want to block ransomware protection section? So suppose allow, then ransomware protection also goes there and allow, suppose, right? So configure if end users can view the ransomware protection area in the Microsoft Defender Security Center, hiding this section will also block all notifications related to ransomware protection. This should be enabled. And I did enable access to it, but now it's a reminder for me that I should go for all these options and check it, because the director asked me to enable it for all users, which was, I told her, hey, it's let's not do it, or let's do it for few users. No, she said, no, all users. Then, okay, our users, majority of them are knowledgeable, as we found out that they are security conscious as well, majority of them, but it takes just one user to get the hackers in. So every user should be knowledgeable then. So account protection, allow block, firewall, and network protection. It's actually not in-depth policies. It's just allow block, right? So at least allow what you want the users to be checking and block what you don't want, right? But I had to enable that when the director asked, and she's very technical, so I keep saying that. Okay, clear TPM button, damper protection, enable block. So it's enable disable, but nothing more complicated. What we want to display, IT contact information, IT organization name. This would be interesting. That hey, contact help desk support at this number and this email, right? And this number. So I think yeah, this I enabled. So I did put the contact information, so it does come when they want to report something. Local device security, it goes accounts you want to block, add new Microsoft accounts, remove remote logon without password. Um, so not configured, admin, local admin account. You know what? We did this. No local administrator account in our machines exists now. And this is, what I've never did in any other company that, hey, we need a local admin account to, if user cannot log in, so we can log in from that account. But we did not. Now, why did we block local admin account? Because hackers can also gain access, so hackers won't have access to local admin account. And second thing is our data is all in the cloud, nothing in the laptop. Suppose the user cannot log into the laptop. Get the laptop, just simply reset it and give a new Windows to the user without having any extra areas to enter the laptop. Because all the data is in the cloud and it's protected by Microsoft Defender in OneDrive and SharePoint. So we don't allow this local admin account. I was against that first, and then I realized her logic, my director's logic, and yeah, that made sense. And then I checked other forums recommendations, so that did make sense. So this is blocked. In our lab, I want it enabled because if we mess up here, we don't want to reinstall the whole Windows, right? So I'm not enabling it here, but letting you know that it is enabled there in our company. Guest account is already, so you want to block it? Yeah, it's also okay. And then devices, unlock device without logon, undock device without logon. You know the Docker, when you connect the device to the Docker. So, okay, so yeah. Install printer drivers for shared printers enabled. So there's a lot of settings here that you can go format and eject removable device, interactive logon. There's a lot of configuration. So we had to go through each and every configuration in 1 hour. In fact, we took one more hour next day to go through this and check what we need to enable and not. There's so much there. I'm just now scouring through some of the important ones. Shut down without logon, button should be enabled or not, clear virtual memory page file. So user control, it goes on and on and on until we are like, really, we needed a coffee after this, a strong one. But and it's not a one sitting thing. You have to just go through every configuration before you implement. If you are allowing Xbox in your companies, then this is the configuration. Obviously, we're not. User rights, then this comes, and that's a lot of settings itself as well. Change the system time, create global objects, page file, tokens, programs, and whoa. So yeah, it gets really boring, but obviously very critical, very important. And you have to check what are you configuring in all these settings and why, right? So, and then remember that too, because when you implement and you don't need it, that's going to be a problem. Then you need to know where did you configure that. So endpoint protection, whatever we wanted to configure, we configured, and whatever is recommended to be configured there in production environment, but not here. I mentioned that too. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next now. And then I'm going to add it to the group, included groups, excluded groups, right? There are two categories. So included groups, I'll go there, and it's Intune Windows devices. I create this group with 2 users only, and then next. Phew. And specify how to apply this profile within an assigned group. Intune will only apply the profile to devices that meet the combined criteria of these values. So rule and property assign profile if, and what's the property? So you can do that. Suppose you want to implement that. We didn't actually implement this. If the OS edition is this, then assign this policy, right? Suppose there's an older version, someone still is hacking at it. You did not catch it. Obviously, it's your fault as a IT admin that you didn't catch it, but you can put a policy there. If it's an older system, we're not implementing this. Actually, in older systems, it's not gonna even it's Windows 10 and later it's gonna implement on, right? So those older systems will not be protected then as well. So yeah, you want to put something, some condition here you can put. We didn't put it. That's it. Review plus create, and that's a lot of configurations. And I'm gonna click create. So we created one compliance policy, and this is the compliance policy that we already created and assigned to 2 users. Now we created a configuration profile as well. And now you know the extent of settings that we see in a profile. And we have touched just one template. Uh, and then we're going to be deploying some apps and configurations there as well. So this is it. And then we're going to be deploying some scripts as well, and autopilot. So there's a lot of stuff still upcoming, but we are ready in terms of this diagram here, or this diagram here. Actually, this is bigger because I need to draw on this one as well. So I'm gonna go to diagram, and yeah. So 7, it's ready, right? And we have installed the operating system, done. The end user must be added to the security groups, done. As soon as the user logs in, this is where we are going to be. Now, remember that we have not implemented endpoint security, but because we can implement it later as well. And so what we are ready to do is that operating system is there, users are ready, security groups are ready, and we need to see the whole process as well. And you will see that it's not that easy as well. This device gets automatically registered to Microsoft Azure AD first. So we're going to see that, is it registered or not? And then Intune, does it get registered or not? Then compliance policy kicks in or not, and how long does it take? Configuration profile kicks in or not, and how long does it take? So these are remaining. We haven't configured it yet, so we're not expecting it to kick in, obviously, but we will be configuring it later, and then we're going to see how it implements on already added devices. So what we can do now is, because that was a pretty long, just a lecture site, which was important, that's why we had to go through it. But now let's just end the thing. So what we are ready to do is that who are the users, right? We added 2 users, and start the machines, start laptops or start OS, and then log in from users, from those Intune users, which are added to these compliance policies and configuration profiles, right? So let's see then. Now, what I want to show you is at this stage, before we log in, I'm going to go to the 2 users. So what 2 users were there? I'm just going to go there and check it out.
Megan
Yeah, and the
and
next one.
Nestor Wilk.
All right. So these two, exactly as
Megan
you
and
said,
Nestor.
Megan and Nestor. Okay, so these 2 users, let me show you something before we implement that. And if we go there and go to users and active users, so for Megan, uh, Megan Bowen. If I go there, so in the devices, you see there's nothing here. So we're expecting that it should, if she logs into that device, so that device should be registered here. It should be showing here, right? But this is, better to see in Entra ID or Identity or Microsoft Azure Active Directory. So Entra Admin Center, and then go to users, all users, and it gives you a bit more detail about this. So if I go to Megan and click that, then the devices come here, right? And it doesn't show here, but when it does show, it also shows that did it got registered to MDM or Intune, right? So if one place to look after we log in is this, and the second place to look after is obviously here, devices and Windows. So that device should show up here as well, right? So two things, it should show in this devices area in Azure Active Directory or Entra ID, and then in Intune as well, right? So let's try to log into those devices. I need to have this user, so I'm just going to click that, and I need to have the user's actually credentials as well. Huh. Did I put credentials? No. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the credentials of these users now. So Megan, and obviously I'll reset her password now because I need credentials. So require the user to change the password? No. Reset the password. And yeah, that's the password here. Close. I'll go to my so that's a password. Then I need the the other user Nestor's password as well. I'm gonna go there, Nestor, enter. Very likely. Okay. Okay. Come on, go away. Nestor. So I'll put the username here as well, and then reset password for Nestor as well. Reset. Go, 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 go. And right. Okay, so we're kind of ready. I'm just gonna go to my Windows 10, resume it, Windows 11. Okay, press OK. Windows 11, resume it. Kind of fingers crossed, and be ready for T-shoot because we configured those windows last week, and we're going for the configuration, rest of the configuration now. Although they were suspended, so they were frozen state, so they should be okay. And we're going to start from where we left. So Windows 10 and 11. Some companies have mix, some companies have just one type and the other type, some others. So Windows 10, I'm just trying to configure. At this point, I need the user to be logged in. So is this the right keyboard layout? I'm going to say yes. You want another user? Yep. Skip. And these are both enterprise editions. Now we have some important setup to do. So it's good that we installed the Windows already, and then we went for the cloud side configurations. So at least compliance and configuration profiles, compliance policy and configuration profiles should be configured, and endpoint security is an extra thing that is also recommended, though. Okay, while this is going on, I'm gonna push Windows 11 as well. Yeah, so is this the right country? Oh, there's a sounds coming. Okay. Yeah. So is this the right country or region? Yes. And this is the keyboard. Okay. Yes. So yeah, Windows 11 is trying to go while who's going to use this PC, or even better, use another account. So you know what? If I click this Windows 10 online account, I want to go for this is the local account that they're asking for. I'm going to go for that account where it asks for Windows 10. I'm on Windows 10, the work or school account. So if I go for the other option, or better use online account, who, what name do you want to use? Okay, seriously, I'll go for Amir
Admin,
admin.
admin.
Sorry, what you saying?
No, you just did it. Admin. Work
Yep,
first name admin.
yep. Yeah, it's just local admin, but next and create password. So small ABC, capital ABC, shrink123 without shrink123. So whichever you want to put there, and confirm password again. It's letting us, it's making us create a local user account, which ultimately we don't want. Ah, man, security questions, seriously. Okay, what's your first pet name? I'll just put CEA everywhere. Pet name, seriously. Cloud Engineers Academy. And just to get rid of this, next, go, 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 go. Oldest cousin's name is CEA. Okay. And city you were born, CEA. Okay, next. Come on, show me the work or school account. Well, these are choose privacy settings for your device, location, get location-based experiences like direction. Some companies say, for security reasons, they don't want the device to be located for different services. Some companies say yes. So it's according to your company compliance policy. Many companies don't have okay, diagnostic data. Microsoft sends some data. They're optional. If it says optional, so I'm just going this. So here, tailored experiences, again, diagnostic data and everything, select learn more. So just for now, location-based data, but companies then actually disable pretty much everything. Majority of the time, find my device, maybe yes, it would be good. Inking or typing, if you're touch-based, if you're giving users touch-based devices, then it's okay. Advertising ID, apps can use advertising ID to provide more personalized, not giving extra information to devices, to advertising apps. So some of the settings you can configure, but every company has different preferences here. I'm going to click accept, and then we go ahead. Let Cortana, no. It's like Cortana starts talking and then, come on, where's the work or school? Oh, it's gonna let me log in like this. Hey, that was not good. Okay, I'm gonna go for 11 as well. I did click online, it didn't let me go. So it should have asked for a Wi-Fi connection. It didn't ask that too. Huh. Okay, so I'm going for 11. It's updating still. Okay, 10. Oh man. Okay, so I think it's the wrong operating system. But what it normally asks on a laptop, it didn't ask here. Or maybe it will ask, where is your work or school? But if it logs in directly, this was not what I was planning to do. Enterprise may be the wrong system, then I have to go for installation of Pro system where it was showing put a work or school account. And that's where everything would have been deployed. Here, suppose it logs in from a local user and then we put work or school, that would work as well, but that's not the way to configure it for a new device. It should just ask here and then log in from the user. It registers in Azure, registers in Intune. I did use in Enterprise this time. Last time I used actually Pro. So leave everything to us. Yeah, that's the trouble. I left everything to you. Okay, 11. Does it ask for work or school? Yes. Work or school. That's what I was looking for. Dude, what's wrong with this 10? Okay, so here you'll use this info. So I'm gonna go for any one user and log in from work or school account, right? So I'm gonna be going for this. Oh, it doesn't paste. Okay, so I'll just write the whole thing. Megan at 0xbsc.onmixer.com. Megan at 0xbsc. Megan at 0xbsc.onmicrosoft.com. On Okay, next. Username may be incorrect. Make sure you type it correctly. Megan 0xbsc.onmicrosoft.com. Sign in options. It didn't ask me here as well for Wi-Fi. So enterprise, I think it's full BS. Okay, like anyone has a pro? I will have to deploy pro then. Here also it didn't ask
Come
me for Wi-Fi. Yep.
here. Create a user with my name in it, right? Put me in the group, and then I'll test it on my machine.
Oh, you have a machine?
Yeah,
Well, you can
yeah.
just take this one,
I've
right?
got two machines ready for this. All right. Just
Yeah.
create a
So
user.
no, but you can just take this user, right? You're cutting really bad. So
No, I just did it on mute. No, I was gonna say create a user in your account, and then I'll sign in with my name on it.
so what's wrong with this one? You don't want to take this one?
Oh,
I
it
mean,
doesn't
it's
matter.
the same thing, right?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I'll
like,
I'll take Megan.
yeah, it's already added to security groups
I'm
and
on my
everything.
Windows 10 machine,
Okay.
and
It's
then
directly on the Windows 10 laptop?
yeah,
Okay.
no, it's just a Windows 10 VM. It's just a VM.
Oh, it's a VM.
Yes,
Okay.
and then I'll go to accounts
Is it a
in
Pro or
Windows 10.
Enterprise?
It's a Pro Enterprise. Sorry, Enterprise.
It is also Enterprise, but it's on the laptop directly. Okay. Oh, no, it's a VM.
It's a
It's
VM.
pretty
Yeah,
much like mine. Okay.
yeah.
So
So
I'm just giving you this in WhatsApp chat or
yeah, so
here
what I'll
in the
do is I'll
chat.
go to Access Worker School, and then I'll click on Connect,
Sure.
and then I'll take
There you go.
the
Yeah,
and
it's
then
username, password. That's it. So here,
you do the other one.
yeah. Oh man, it just logged in. This sucks. Okay. The last time I had Pro, I don't know why I went for Enterprise. I had no idea that Enterprise would do this. But that's weird that Enterprise did not ask for Wi-Fi. Domain join instead. So guys, what I'm doing is I'm clicking sign in options. And then I'm going for domain join instead, which is we don't have a domain yet, but if it detects that, who's using this device? No, it's also going for local. So enterprise is Sal, if you are using Pro and you're able to log in, then you can take a picture of that from camera or something. But I will have to install Pro on my side. This
But
enterprise
mine's
experience
the Enterprise,
actually.
believe it or not. Mine's also Enterprise.
Oh, yours also enterprise. You're not Pro.
Yeah, I thought it's from
Okay.
Microsoft's website, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I sent the link for. So guys, sorry about that. I have to quickly install Pro and Windows 10 or 11, whichever. I have Pro as well. So, but that really didn't work. And that's what I was not expecting. So I need to check which Windows 10 or 11 I have. Downloads, but I'm not going for it says enterprise here. That really is. So in Pro, everything worked. Okay, that was not good. Ah, I have to download Pro. Seriously, I think I had it. Uh, you and software. 11. Pro. I got Pro. I got Pro. I got
Is it Megan or Megan B?
Ah, yeah, it's Megan B. I was just
B, right?
typing
Yeah.
Megan.
Well, it's just not even
Man, good
taking it.
catch.
Yeah,
Good
it's
catch.
Megan or Megan B.
Thank you, sir. You saved my. This works. You saved my day, man. Oh, you're going for Megan B. Then I'll go for Nestor. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
Megan
I'm
B.
doing. Megan MEGANB at O0XS
It's direct.
XBSC dot
Exactly.
on Microsoft.com. It's saying that it's not in our system.
It's saying that.
It's not in our system.
No. Okay, so that's what happening to me as well. Is your machine connected to internet right now?
Yes.
No, this machine that you're about to log in now. Did it
Yes.
ask for a Wi-Fi?
No, but it is on. It's got a NAT protocol.
Yeah. Okay. So because it is in the system, it would only check it if it has internet connection.
So I need
Right.
to. Okay, got you.
So it would just want to cross-check that from Azure.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm back here. Okay, so it gave you the error as well, right? Megan B.
Sorry.
It gave you the error as well, Megan
Yeah.
B.
Am I not?
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. And it's a user that's in your domain, right? So
Megan B. Since it gave you an error, so I'm just gonna
yeah.
try it again. Although it didn't ask me for Wi-Fi. That's VSC dot on Microsoft.com. Next. It's actually trying to connect. Oh, it is on internet and it was a spell mistake. Okay.
Yeah, I got internet too.
Sal, you're a Marvel hero.
Yeah, I'm good.
ZAS. Thank you, sir. Thank you for
No
your
problem.
catching this mistake I was doing.
No problem.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to click sign in. So yeah, it actually is showing. So Windows 11 shows work or school. 10 did not show that. That was pretty disappointing for me. So I'm going to deploy 10 Pro.
I'll
This
do
means, but
Nestor.
11 does show that. Okay, then great.
What was Nestor's?
Oh yeah, Nestor is this.
Or we can speed up the process.
Yeah, this is it.
ESC. Okay. Are you? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, now it's trying to connect online. It is supposed to give this machine's name in Azure AD. So I'm actually going to track that here with Megan. So I'm logged in from Azure Active Directory in with Megan Bauer profile and showing devices. And if I refresh that, there you go. Woohoo! It shows here right away. But does it show? Maybe it's too early, but I'm going for
I'm good. I'm in.
Intune admin as well. Okay, you're also able to log in from
Yeah,
Nestor.
you should be
That's
able
very
to
good.
see it. Yeah.
Okay, it's so in Azure Active Directory, it does show, but you can see that MDM is actually not showing here. It shows none here. So this means that we have to deploy the company profile
Do a refresh.
app and then do that. Otherwise, it should register in Intune as well automatically, at least register, but company profile will just tell you that how many policies were implemented or not. And it's just still logging in. Maybe it stopped somewhere because it has to be connected to, yeah, choose privacy policy. Okay. These are the same settings that I was doing before. Location, find my device, okay. Diagnostic data, no. Ink typing, no. Tailored experiences, no. Advertising, no. Okay, first two I just accepted. Then next, it hasn't really gone ahead to the Intune level. It is just registering with Azure and Windows Hello should be coming here, and I should be avoiding. I will. My company policy is not to go for biometrics, so I'll be avoiding biometrics or fingerprint sign in. I'll be going for just the PIN level sign in. Checking for updates. Oh, seriously? Okay. So, uh, okay, yeah. So it went back here to is trying, but what I want is MDM. At least it should be showing. Oh, there you go. MDM Microsoft Intune is showing here now. And if I go for Intune itself, so is it appearing there yet? So I'm in devices and then Windows, and then, oh, actually it is there. And what?
That's
Oh
just
yeah,
one
so
of
yours
the,
is also showing here,
yes.
Nestor. It's saying, so guys here, non-compliant, so this means that the policies have yet to kick in, or if they are kicking in or have kicked in, they have to be compared in terms of compliance, while mine is still on not evaluation.
So I ran the device
So,
sync, Amir,
uh-huh.
and I don't have company portal installed yet. So
Oh, yeah, without that, it should still kick in, but company portal will need to be installed manually, and we're going to be doing that. But now I'm an Azure Active Directory or Entra ID. Yeah. So yeah, it is registered here with Azure Active Directory as well as Intune. We
what
should
about Nestor?
change the password. Oh no, company machine. Yeah, you were saying?
Nestor's is Nestor's account also Intune?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Nestor account, because it shows up in Intune, that's a proof that Nestor is Intune ready, or it's added to those security policies which are attached to compliance policy and configuration profile. So it takes time. What would be our next step? Oh, let me just go through that. We need to install company compliance app right away. Okay, yeah. So my throat. Okay, so it's gonna go for please keep your policy on and plugged in. Um, so it's okay, kids. So one thing that it just takes time to for everything to happen. One thing I wanted to show was Windows Hello. Second thing, how to install compliance policy as well. So I'm just going to press OK here for Windows Hello. It's asking. And then we have to, according to company policy, we could, thank you. So according to company policy, we could avoid the biometric, or we could implement biometric, but then you have to have the user in front of you and then, okay, can you put your fingerprint here and blah, blah, blah. So our company compliance policies, no, don't go for biometric, just PIN. Okay, so it's gonna now ask for Windows Hello, and that's taking time. If we go check out Intune, so Nestor, it's non-compliant, but this means that it's one stage ahead of Megan, which is not evaluated yet. That do you have any policy at all? So if I go for non-compliant for Nestor, um, which is running in Sal's machine, so it's a VMware, and then I can go to device compliance. I'm in Intune Admin Center, right? So device compliance here. Okay, so Sal shows that there is, Sal has shown, if I can drag this here. Oh man, somehow it's not dragging. Okay, I'll take a screenshot of that.
I ran a device sync just to kind of speed up the process, but yeah, it should be there. Should also be an Entra admin too.
Yeah,
Then
it
it
should
should
be
be there.
compliant once all the policies are
Yeah, that's right.
in. So yeah, this is what Sal is showing, and this is the company. No, this is not company portal app. This is the settings inside the account.
Yeah,
So I'll be going there as well. So that's very good.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Because we haven't
And
done the company portal app yet, so I'm not
yep.
going to show that yet.
Uh-huh. In fact, after this, we can deploy a company portal app as well. And so company compliance policy says, right now it was saying, and it does appear and go away at the start, then it appears permanently, but it does say non-compliant and device configuration profile, no data at all, but that's going to change slowly. So if I go to the list here, it's still, yeah, non-compliant and it's still non-evaluated, but I'm going to refresh on the browser level because last time I was refreshing locally on the page, it was not showing anything. When I pressed on the browser level, then it showed. And yeah, one name Anderson it's going to show, but I need to check that. Where is, oh, it's still, oh man, seriously, it's not good. So it's still trying to get all the updates. I clicked on it and, like kind of telling it, hey, show me all the next screens. Oh, come on. Okay. Here it's showing. So both are registered to Azure Active Directory, both are in Intune as well. Now it's all about the policies. When they kick in finally, and the status should be that compliant and green instead of red. So it should say compliant green. Right now, policies are either not even evaluated or they are just not compliant. So all policies, all configurations have not been implemented. So now it's popping up for Windows Hello, and it's saying, hey, is it Megan B user account? So I'm just clicking next. And they're saying your organization needs more information to keep your accounts secure. And then, yeah, they're asking now. Z is the option. Okay, come on, man, show. So what we're expecting is that it's going to ask for, okay, MFA here. So here, can I skip that? Yeah, I can. There's a cross button here. For now, I'm skipping MFA. If it lets me do that, yes, it is letting me do that. And then something went wrong, so I'm gonna still skip it. And then it goes inside, and it enables. It's enabled for 90 days. It's activated because it has internet connection. And okay, it's just terribly slow. What's the RAM I've given it? I think 4 GB. 4 GB, yeah. But yeah, so now it is inside. If I go check the compliance, so yeah, it does take time, and we can just visit the settings area. So I'll go click here and settings. Obviously, I need to deploy VMware Workstation, VMware Tools here. So it could show me bigger window, and that later could be done through scripts for newer machines. That's the first thing to do. In fact, install VMware Tools. So I'm just going to go right click here and click install VMware Tools because it's a virtual machine. Normally we do it on a physical laptop. So while I clicked open settings, I also attached the VMware tools window because I need the whole drivers of everything installed here. So yeah, it's a settings area, but I'm more concentrating on deploying VMware tools first. That will make it user friendly. It's terribly slow. Well, we're here in accounts, in settings, and there's accounts here. In accounts, you can go for, okay. In accounts, you can go for, so there's the VMware tools window that pop up, but since I was going for the accounts, then there are work or school account. There's the work or school account. And then there's Megan connected. And there's info here. So when you go to info, then you see some kind of what kind of policies have been implemented and whatnot. Although it's going to show, but my more bigger concern is that I need to install VMware tools. Otherwise, the screen will stay small like this. So setup 64. You just have to install VMware tools, next install, restart, and then when it restarts, then it shows big screen and it's very user friendly then. Okay, yes, go, 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 go. Come on, Papa. Wow, man, it's already time. So obviously, once VMware tools are installed, then I can suspend here the machine, and we're going to start next week with this Windows configurations. And we're going to be installing company portal app as well. And then, you know, lots and lots of other settings and recommendations that you're going to do. Virtual machine obviously is not exactly uh, showing the environment that or ease of use or ease of doing all things in directing a laptop. What we do directly in a laptop, in a new laptop, when we are configuring, it's much faster. Obviously, it's a virtual machine, so it's much slower here.
I'm restarting my machine, Amir, after I install VMware tools. So we'll
Great.
see what happens if there are any changes on the admin center side, the cloud side.
Yeah, it's the drivers are there and the screen should be bigger, so that's what we want. But it's
I'm talking about the compliance. That's all.
uh-huh. Yeah, it's gonna let, yeah, VMware tools will let in virtual machine environment some of the policies to be implemented. So yes, VMware tools has to be first here. The best criteria would be as if it's a live laptop, it's a new laptop or new or like old laptop, whatever. But yeah, directly on a laptop, the experience is much user friendly. Anyway, but yeah, this is 95% exactly what we do on laptops as well. We just don't have to install these tools. Oh man, how come the date is okay? Let's let the tool install, restart, then let's see. Time zone is wrong as well. So yeah, till VMware tools we can install. And then yeah, the configurations we can always do easily, step by step, one by one, and understand each and everything. But you have to reach here first. While it is about to finish the installation, if I check back here, yeah, it's still non-compliant and mine is not even evaluated. So
Yeah, that's fine.
mhm.
Where both users are attached to the security group, right?
Yeah. So, okay, give me a restart. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, finally. It's loading. We will have to correct the time. This is very important. If the time is wrong, it's not going to work really. Lots of errors will come then from time to time. Yeah, it's overall too slow. I have just a couple of million tabs open here, and Chrome especially, and I have Teams open. These are memory suckers. So yeah, once it restarts, you can see that all the drivers are there now, and many of the advanced features are enabled for the environment. So after that, we can always go step by step. So once it is restarted, I'll just log in, and then I'll key the machine up, and maybe I'll actually suspend the machine because I need to show you next class then how we can manually do the synchronizations from settings as well as company portal app. I could just leave it up and on as well, the machine, but then we won't see some of the things happening live. So right after it restarts, I'll just suspend the machine and we'll connect next week for the rest of the configurations. Man, we could. Oof. Okay. Why virtual machines are always slow? I'm teaching somewhere else, Azure, AZ104, and their yeah, the virtual machines are so slow. I mean, I don't know why.
What didn't you give it 4 gigs?
Yeah, I gave 4 gig, and giving 8 gig was a very bad mistake. So I had to put it back to 4 gigs. Then it was a bit faster.
Yeah, I was gonna say use the full amount when you're installing one machine, and then set it back when it's installed.
Oh yeah, that's what I did. And what I'm doing Oracle VirtualBox, and that's where the painful procedure starts. It seems like it's gonna take time to restart as well. So yeah, it's gonna restart. I'm gonna leave it at that and suspend the machine. So we will continue with the actual configurations now in next class. So have a nice rest of the long weekend,
You
and
too.
see you
You
in
too.
next
Thank you very
class.
much. Have a nice
All
day.
right, thank you.
Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Happy Thanksgiving if you guys are celebrating it.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving for those who are celebrating. Okay, I'll stop the recording.